Hey y'all, disclaimer: fair use act, education purpose use only. All rights, image, and music clip belong to their prospective owner, and we do not claim ownership. What's up, y'all? How everybody doing? Man, shout out to everybody in the chat with they thumb jack. Man, when I tell y'all, bruh, this finna get so deep, cause Dick Gregory exposed Donald Trump. Now I'm gonna get straight to the T, right? Here we go right here. Remind y'all, when I be trying to tell the world this, whoever watch my video, and I be trying to tell the world, man, look, Kanika showed me a whole lot through her murder case. You know what I'm saying? She exposed the whole case, you know what I'm saying, to what I was looking for. You know, like for a prime example, right? Now y'all see this, the R. Kelly, right? Keep this in mind. What R. Kelly got to do with anything? Basically, he ain't got nothing to do with the Kanika Jenkins case, but he is involved with the same elite people, you know what I'm saying? The same organization, the Freemasonry, the Illuminati, all of this. And I just want y'all to see how Rosemont play a big role in Chicago. Because when it comes to R. Kelly, he was facing accused of sexual abuse, right, in 91 and 2018. Keep this in mind. 2018 is going to be a big role when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein file. And then you know R. Kelly was staying at the Donald Trump Hotel. So with that being said, look how many celebrities that was in the Epstein file. They were staying at the Trump Plaza. Not the Trump Plaza, but you know, it's the Trump Hotel in Chicago. So look. So when it come to Aaliyah case, look where they got married at the Sheraton Gateway Suite in Rosemont, Illinois, right down the street from Crown Plaza Hotel. So that just show you proof that, man, you know, these hotels be throwing these events for these people. You know, they be throwing these events for these people. Because when I looked into their case, they got married at a hotel here. Right here. This the hotel they got married in, right here. Right? So that just shows you proof that these celebrities do go to these hotels and secretly with an underage girl with forgery documents, falsified paperwork. And look where you can go and do this stuff. Rosemont, Illinois. So when it comes to the Selena Gomez, do you think that same thing goes for her too? Hey, we need organs. Come to Rosemont. We'll get you right. And look, this the hotel where celebrities go and can marry underage kids. Right? Look at the staff. You don't think they would know? They would know. All right. This hotel is right down the street from Crown Plaza. So you got the DoubleTree, you got the Hiltons over here, you got this hotel, the Wade Hotel over here, where the manager is working at now. You know, I'm talking about David Pena. That's where David Pena working at now. So you got all this in Rosemont. They go to big old airport right there, right? So you got So let me get to this, what I'm trying to get to. Listen to what, and we're gonna get back to her, where they were married at Rosemont. falsifying all these documents and paperwork, and it was a lawsuit that was filed on the marriage certificate as a 18-year-old, and was not legal to enter the marriage without permission or consent. Keep this in mind when she gonna die in 2001. Think about Jeffrey Epstein files and all this. Because Jeffrey Epstein played a major role in the 90s. I didn't know nothing about Jeffrey Epstein. Some of y'all might didn't know about Jeffrey Epstein in the 90s. But one thing that was in the file, that all the celebrities knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. We didn't know. But they knew who exactly he was. So now look. This is where I'm finna get at. Right here, Donald Trump. Now watch what D. Gregory finna say about Donald Trump, right? And everything what he finna say about Donald Trump, and mind y'all, he died before the Epstein files came out. He died before Donald Trump got exposed through the Epstein. Now check this out, y'all.
This election. Let's talk about the election. You know, as we speak today, it's down to Hillary, Bernie, and Trump.
Yeah, but see, you're talking to the wrong person. I never believed there was going to be an election this year, and it's not. Mm-hmm. Trump ain't got no money. Trump ain't never had no money. They talk about his daddy. You ever seen a picture of his daddy? You ever seen anybody write a story about his daddy?
No. I mean, they got his money from his dad, yeah.
I didn't ask you that. See, you keep talking to me. I don't want to hear. I asked you, have you ever seen a picture of his daddy?
No, I have not.
Have you ever heard a story about his daddy? And that don't bother you? Huh? That don't bother you? And so much of us out here been talking and shit. His sister had the whole press conference. No, he didn't give him no $100 million. He gave him $1 million. I wonder why he didn't give me none. Huh? You know? See, if you're getting in this here and you're going to move to people more powerful than me, I ain't going to talk to you if you don't know nothing. The fuck I'm going to talk to you about money if you ain't got none? That's what this shit is about. That's why NBC and ABC, that's why I look at them. Not that I believe them, they got $1 trillion industry to do the research and I can pick it apart. That's simple.
So, I know you don't expect there to be an election, but did you think Trump would get as far as he has?
I didn't know who it was. Huh? Look, let me show you something here. Let me show you the shit that I know.
Right,
it's the Wall Street Journal. One of the most powerful papers in the world. Don't mean it's no good. What's the date? Now, hold it 1 minute.
Watch this, y'all. He died right before Kanika died in the freezer, right? Now, check this out what he finna say about Donald Trump and the news. Watch how he finna expose all of these stuff.
It's the Wall Street Journal. One of the most powerful papers in the world. Don't mean it's no good. What's the date? Now, hold it 1 minute. Hold it. Hold it. I ran for president 1968. The election was Tuesday, November the 4th. This story ran Friday, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Now, what's the date on that? What paper is that?
Wall Street Journal, November 7th, 1968. Page
Headlines.
6. Election computer goofs gives Gregory 9 million votes.
That's why you can't talk to me. I got too much information. I got 9 million votes in the state of Pennsylvania. Huh? Okay.
Now, this was in the state of Pennsylvania. Watch this, y'all. Look. Watch where I'm finna go with this. Now, if you got Dick Gregory going, running against Donald Trump. Look, running against Donald Trump for president, right? And he said Look what happened in Pennsylvania.
Welcome to Wix Harmony.
look what
Take the
happened in
speed of AI
Pennsylvania.
and pixel level control.
The president-elect like you've never seen him.
I'd rate myself less than a great husband.
Candid, revealing.
I think all women are unbelievably complex.
One thing for sure about Donald J. Trump.
I've had a hell of a life.
Not this one. Hold on, y'all. Hold up. Where that John at? Here you go, right here, y'all. Look. Guess what assassination happened at? Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, if Dick Gregory just exposed what they were doing in the news and in the election, and when he was running against Donald Trump, look what he did years later.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
All right, now look, now that's been proven that was staged. Let's go to Donald Trump. Now look, if you look up Donald Trump history, look, he was born into a wealthy New York family and he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. Won't you stage it, you know, in Pennsylvania? That's so crazy to me, and it was like an election time too. So that's just another way to be like, oh, they trying to kill Donald Trump. Hey man, we need to pray for him and all of this old stuff, right? Pennsylvania, watch out all this. Then look what he said. He graduated in 1968 with his bachelor degree in economics. He became the president of the family real estate in 71. Now let me stop it right here. What he said, read the article again.
I mean, it's the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
It's one of the most powerful papers in the world. Don't mean it's no good. What's the date? Now, hold it 1 minute. Hold it. Hold it. I ran for president 1968. The election was Tuesday, November the 4th. This story ran Friday, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Now, what's the date on that? What paper is that?
Wall Street Journal, November 7th, 1968. Page
Headlines.
6. Election computer goofs gives Gregory 9 million votes.
That's why you can't talk to me. I got too much information. I got 9 million votes in the state of Pennsylvania. Huh? Okay. That's what fasting do. Huh? Now read the first paragraph.
Some machines just aren't to be believed. Take the big computer in New York that was designed to compile results of Tuesday's general election.
All elections are tabulated in New York City. Go ahead.
At one point early yesterday morning, the machine was crediting Dick Gregory, the comedian turned presidential candidate, with 9 million votes in Pennsylvania.
Now here's what happened. The energy took over, the computers, and they had to shut them down because it projected me as president-elect of the United States. And they couldn't change it because they couldn't change the numbers.
Wow.
9 million votes in one state. I know what it was. They went in there and tricked the machine for Nixon, but somebody put it on wrong and they gave it to me. So I'm going in the election and know all this bullshit y'all read. It ain't true. They did it just like they did that. Huh? Just like they did that.
Yeah, the one time Trump lost, he said it was rigged. The few weeks ago when
First,
Trump
there's
lost.
2 Trumps.
Okay.
The one in the red tie is the real one. The one in the blue tie is not. The one you saw last night after the victory was the blue tie.
And another thing, this is what made me speak up on this while I was doing my research. And I was coming across some information, and it just puzzled me because it told me this. Man, Donald Trump did not age not one bit. Donald Trump still looked the same as he did. I'm talking about that man growing old and old, and it's like he growing stronger and stronger as he getting older. The man, solid build, you know what I'm saying? He don't look like an average 90-year-old person. You see what I'm going with this, right? Check this out, right?
Now, if you would punch up Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, when Trump called him a pedophile, and the next day he joined Trump. And the guy asked him, see, every now and then you slip and say so. He said, why'd you do that? He said, it's 2 Trumps. I was with the good one.
Now, y'all heard it? Go back to the Jeffrey Epstein file. Jeffrey Epstein already had his clones. You know what I'm saying? Even Michael Jackson had his own clone. Michael Jackson used to have his clone running out, you know what I'm saying, the front door while he had to sneak out the back door. You know, when it come to Hussein, you know what I'm saying? That's the reason, I mean, Saddam Hussein, him, that's why they had a hard time trying to get up with him and try to assassinate him, because they ain't know which one he was. Because they said Saddam and Hussein had over 50 body doubles. That's just like the same thing they said about Hitler. You know, Hitler had body doubles. So, you know, this clone and body double is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? This just in our generation, bro. This shit new to us. But this shit been going on, man, since the biblical time. Damn, that Adam and Eve time. And that's what Kanika waking me up to. Because of this. Watch this. Trump called him a pedophile, Ben Carson, right? Called Ben Carson because he know of the Jeffrey Epstein file, right? Keep this in mind, the Jeffrey Epstein file wasn't even released yet. And this in 2017 type. You see what I'm saying? And he said this.
You see it there? Just punch up. When somebody interviewed him, he said, there's 2 Donald Trumps. That's easy to pull up.
Okay. I was Googling Ben Carson pedophile. I was Googling the wrong thing.
No, he called him that the day before. So you know he got something on him if he gonna make him the next day say, I join you.
Dr. Ben Carson, there are 2.
Y'all see that? So boom. So if Donald Trump said that before that Epstein file, so that's why Donald Trump was throwing jab at Ben Carson. Yeah, you a pedophile. Then he would earn out Hillary Clinton. Like, yeah, if I was the feds, you know what I'm saying, I would have you arrested and all this, and Obama need to go to jail and all this. He basically telling everybody need to go to jail, but he the innocent one, and they just blaming everything on him because he knows so much. Watch this.
2 Donald Trumps.
There it is. Oh, you can read the rest of that later.
Okay, it's right there.
Okay.
Said it's 2 Donald
but
Trump.
now, while we
That's why he aired them out, because he told the world it was 2 Donald Trump.
on you,
Dr. Ben Carson, there are 2 Donald Trumps.
there it is. Oh, you can read the rest of that later.
Okay, it's right there.
Okay.
So,
But now, while we talking about that, are you aware that made him world renowned? Carter, what he did.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. You know how he got world renowned?
He separated the twins.
Head
with
twins.
The brain. Yeah, from the brain. He separated
Siamese twins.
Siamese twins.
He wasn't even in the room when that happened. Wasn't in the room. He's been campaigning for 8 months. Have you ever heard him mention it? No. Everybody else mentioned everything they did with a pus, right? If what they said he did was true, then the question we need to ask, how come he's never been nominated for a Nobel Prize? Didn't say get one. The nomination. He's never been nominated for a Nobel Prize in medicine. See how the thinking, when the thinking hits? And when he said at the president's prayer breakfast, compared Obama, what do you call it, the insurance, Obamacare.
Obamacare, yeah.
Is worse than slavery, remember that? Mm-hmm. He was fired by the time he got back to Johns Hopkins. They'd already paid him for 2 weeks later to do the commencement. They said, keep the money. You better not be caught on this campus again.
So the two Donald Trumps, Bernie.
Huh?
Bernie Sanders. So
I didn't know that much about Bernie other than he come from a place where there ain't no black folks. So I just assumed he's CIA. You know, you can't do what he's doing across the country and nobody know you. But I got the experience of the Beatles, how they can manipulate crowds. Young folks, okay? That's how I'm telling you, compound stuff with the stuff you know. And you do that by shutting up and listening. Huh? Wow. Huh?
Think about what he finna say next.
And so, Hillary, they can take her down anytime they want her. Put her in jail. And she don't have to do nothing. That's how they do it. You saw the pictures of Monica. They can have a picture with her screwing a gorilla. They have that technology now. ISIS, I mean, you stupid enough to believe with trillions of dollars, satellites, we didn't see him put in the military. He's us. Trained by General Petraeus. And every time we overrun his lines, he ain't got nothing but American equipment. You know, it's a game. The mightiest military in the history of the planet, and these white folk, they bomb him every day and they can't, come on.
So, I mean, well, what does it say about the country, this election, that somebody like Trump would even be the prime candidate?
I'm not even gonna answer. See, you take it to someplace else. Huh? You answer it. I just told you. Huh? I said so-and-so is a man in a dress. What color dress he gonna wear next week? That's your shit. Okay. You getting into gossip now. The people I talk to know who I am. They wouldn't even ask me a question like that. Because if I know that, they know I know something else they don't know.
And they do got pictures of Donald Trump in a dress. No, they do got pictures of Donald Trump in a dress, Bill Clinton in a dress, and also other politicians. And Jeffrey Epstein alone. That's where they got all these pictures from. And that man housed all these people in dresses. Like, what's going on? Check this out.
Asked me, said, I saw the article. You said Trump is gay. How'd you know? Because he ain't never bashed gays.
Trump gay.
Talk about Jesus, you know, the Pope. You use some of that shit on your own.
Told you.
And then you see it. Huh? It's simple.
And then look, and this was before the Jeffrey Epstein file came out. So if all of this, you know what I'm saying, and if you look at how the way these people been rocking since the 60s, 70s, they was already tapping in with technology before technology was handed to us. Man, them folks already had computers. And then when I started thinking about it, like when the internet really came exist, cause you're gonna have to have the internet if you're gonna have a TV for the TV to have a signal. So that means these folk was already using damn near Wi-Fi. The old black and white movies, how they earned it to TV station. You gotta have a signal You got to have some type of internet. You see what I'm saying? And I think about it, and I'm like, man, look when TV first, you know what I'm saying? Like radio. You need a signal. You got to use that through Wi-Fi. That's all it is. You using some kind of signal in the sky. That's Wi-Fi. So check this out, right? So I'm like, man, these people so well in advance of that's how they were getting away with the Kanika Jenkins case. They already been staging events. They already been falsified paperwork. You know what I'm saying? This ain't their first murder, her. You know? Because look, if you go, and I had did some research, and I'm like, man, look, them Jews run Chicago. Look at the people that run the housing authority out there. Look who built the housing authority out there. Look who built all the systems, and look who got all the hotels. It's come from the Jewish people, right? That's where most of love songs come from. Motowns and all this, Motown and all this stuff. And they built Motown off teen music. All they artists would, you know what I'm saying, with none but teenagers. You know, like the Al Green, the Temptation, the Shy Listed, you know what I'm saying, the OJ. You got to realize these folk were just teenagers. They were kids then, bruh. So look, so this is what I did. I said, man, look, these people so cold. That's why Donald Trump had to stage assassination in Pennsylvania. Want to know why he staged it in Pennsylvania? Out of all places, he want to stage the first assassination attempt at the goddamn election in Pennsylvania. And this is what you finna find out about Pennsylvania, right? Hold on. Let's look at this. Look. Now you see how it's staged? It ain't no telling what they doing up under there. It ain't no telling what Trump doing up under there.
On you. Ready? Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Hawkeye's here. Move it to the stair. Stair, get ready. Stair, get ready. We ready?
Hold on, y'all. Oh, man.
Shooters down. Are we good to move?
The audio good, because I done froze up a little bit. So look, that's why they had to stage the event like that. Cause
let me get my shoes. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we gotta move to the bus.
Y'all heard Donald Trump. Let me get my shoes.
Watch out.
So, hold on. Hold on, y'all. I froze up a little bit. All right. Well, I'm gonna wait till I unpause it a little bit because I done froze up, gang. All right. So when you look up Pennsylvania, right, you'll see why they would stage this in Pennsylvania, because a lot of Jewish people stay in Pennsylvania, and them folks, them Jews in Pennsylvania and New York, them the real top dog. Them the ones that, you know what I'm saying, really control the goddamn world, bro. The stuff that I found, I couldn't even believe it. Like, it's right here. Damn, they won't even let me pick out. God damn it. Here we go. There you go, right there, right? So check this out. Go to my history. Look at the people that's in Pennsylvania. Who running that joint? These the people that's running
to
Pennsylvania.
Bustling marketplaces and remote wilderness into thriving towns. Their influence is woven so deeply into Pennsylvania's identity that most of us pass by their legacies every day without a second thought. Today, we're counting down the 10 biggest Jewish family businesses that helped build Pennsylvania. we'll journey from the perilous routes of 19th century peddlers to the boardrooms of the 21st century. And the surprising origin of the empire at number 1 will make you see the Keystone State in a whole new light. Now, before we start, a quick heads up. Ranking these families is tough. Fortunes are fluid, often private, and their real impact goes way beyond just dollars and cents. It's measured in jobs created, communities built, and landscapes transformed.
Told you, landscapes been transformed, community been built, system, all that. So, did y'all know this right here? Y'all, it's stories, and this is some stories and new article would tell you about how the group of people came in the black community, and they came in and burnt the whole city down. Man, that's untalked about. So when I read this, I said, man, I ain't never heard of this story before. I ain't even heard of, you know what I'm saying? Them folk had another story about these people came in and they tried to burn down their town and was unsuccessful, and they got killed. I said, man, I never heard this story. I said, man, why they ain't teach this in history class? You know what I'm saying? All right. So look, these Jewish people in New York and Pennsylvania, they the power, they the one that run and shape. Look.
So think of this less as a formal ranking and more as a journey through the incredible history of Jewish entrepreneurship in Pennsylvania. A story of turning small beginnings into lasting dynasties. Number 10. The Peddler Pioneers, the Friedlander Brothers. Coming in at number 10 isn't a single massive corporation, but the foundational entrepreneurs who made everything else possible, the peddlers. And no story captures this starting point better than that of the Friedlander Brothers of Homestead, Pennsylvania. This isn't a tale of a towering headquarters or a billion-dollar valuation, but of the sheer grit that built American commerce from the ground up. In the late 19th century, for many Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, peddling was the only entry point into American business. It was a grueling, dangerous life. Brothers like David and Louis Friedlander would load up horse-drawn carts with essentials, pots, pans, cloth, and travel from farm to farm into the most remote corners of western Pennsylvania. This wasn't just a sales job. It was an act of courage. These men were often lone Jews in unfamiliar territory, facing loneliness, the risk of being attacked, and even arrest for not having the right daily licenses. The Friedlanders.
So they were immigrants, right? Check this out. Same thing what Donald Trump trying to do now with the immigrant situation, right? But he really letting them people in. So look, to make a long story short, this what Donald Trump, Kanika Jenkins taught me, right? All right. I noticed. I'm like, damn. Man, Donald Trump, how old? And that man did not age not one bit. So I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like, look, if you look at Donald Trump picture, he did not age not one bit. The man looked the same 9, 10, 20, 30, damn near 40 years ago. The man still down there got the same down there hair color. All right. So when I looked up at Pennsylvania, I said, oh, it all makes sense now. He been there. You know, this is where he got his bachelor's degree. You know what I'm saying? He got the Trump organization, right? Now y'all see like how he got the pyramid, the skies. Look, This look like a pyramid upside down, like a pencil. If you look at it like a pencil, but it look like an upside down pyramid, it give you an illusion of like that, right? All right. Okay. So I said, damn, everything what I know about the assassination, the Pennsylvania connection, the Charlie Kirk connection, and assassination, right? You know what I'm saying? So I had to go back to Christopher Columbus. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but go back to Christopher Columbus. Right here. Check this out. If you study Christopher Columbus, according to this map, girl, that's him. Everybody should know he Freemasonry. That's why he got his if you look up who Christopher Columbus actually truly was, you will see what he had in mind, and that's the reason why he came over there. All right, hold on. Right? Check this out. Now look, this America right here, right? Man, when I swear to God, and when I was doing some research, these people, look, when I was doing some research, Donald Trump said something that stood out to me, and I got the video on my playlist, but I can't find it. It's gonna take me too long to find it. But Donald Trump said, yeah, it's places that America and most of the world don't even know nothing about. And I said, for real, Trump? Because I was actually looking into that. And you said what I was really actually looking into, right? Y'all heard about the lost cities and all this. According to Christopher Columbus map, man, you got a whole country over here. Man, look at this big old country right here by the United States. And then, cause I was trying to look like, cause I was like, man, why, if you want to go to China or something, you know what I'm saying? Just say like, if you on the west side, on the east side, and you're like, yeah, well, let's go to Africa, boom, let's go to Africa, boom. I want to go to Europe, boom. You see how all this traffic over here? And then when it was like, yeah, if you really want to go to China, you know what I'm saying, they'll fly you up, you know what I'm saying, all the way over here. And skip all of this. And I looked on the map. I was like, man, I even found some islands on here, bro, that you got to really zoom in on the globe just to see these places. And I looked at some of those islands, bro. And the reason why I looked into those islands was what a person told me a long time ago when I first got on the Kanika Jenkins case. Man, that person told me about the islands, Las Vegas, the temples they have in the desert, bro. That's why you got all those bones out there and all those bodies out there in the desert in Las Vegas, Chicago. That's why they call it the Death Valley. You know what I'm talking about? So look, check this out. This was the interesting part finna get. Cause when he came to Cuba, you know what I'm saying? Look at the clothes he wore. You know what I'm saying? He came off like a preacher, a priest, and tried to come in with religious belief, right? You know what I'm saying? Here go the route right here. Now y'all see that route? Now look, think about the Bahamas. That's why they don't want nobody flying over Bahamas, because they don't really want you to see what's really going on in Bahamas, bro. Man, look, that's what I said. We closer than African than what you really think. Man, don't you know, man, look, don't you know how far China is from California? Not that fucking far. Man, they can shoot a missile and can hit California, bro. That's how close they is. If China wanted to attack, they got to attack from the west side. And they got to come through Alaska, Canada, and then come through the Pacific. Oh man, they can do it. Now if you look at the route, notice when it come to the other side, you ain't gonna see all those travels over there like you'll see on this side. Damn. Hey man, you know what I'm saying? Right? Like this. Now you'll see all the travel routes on this side, but when it come to this side, nothing. But look, and if you look at the map, right, you know you got Honolulu right here, but if you can look at the water ridges, and you can find islands on her, like an island right here, little bitty small islands, and then look, I was like, damn, look at all these little bitty islands. They everywhere. They all around her. Look at this little island right here, bro. Number Airport. Now check this out. They even named it after their names and stuff. All right. So I said, hold up, wait a minute. Let me go up here and show what the people, what they were showing me. They said, man, look, Trey Gang, this Alaska right here, right? I said, okay. I mean, yeah, Alaska. And they were like, look, keep going. But look, Alaska curves all the way here. You could actually swim. Well, not swim. Yeah, right here. You could take a canoe. Here go China right here. Bruh, Russia, China, they all right here. All right. So look, when I went back to Christopher Columbus, right, this is what I figured out. Look what the map showed. If he was coming from Europe, he landed in Cuba. He never touched the United States, ever. He never touched this area. He landed in Cuba. And you know what I'm saying, in the Dominican Republic, right? So this was all where he was running back and forth right here. All right. So look. South America, Puerto Rico, Cuba, all that, right? Hey, let me get out of this and show y'all this. At you right here. If you go to the Pocahontas story, right? What they gave y'all. Check this out, right? The Pocahontas. If you go and look up Pocahontas, but y'all know y'all know Pocahontas is a Native American, right? A Native American. Now look where they got a Native American at, right? In Virginia. Where the indigenous people at, the tribe, right? But keep this in mind, we also know they on the islands too, you know what I'm saying, with Cuba in it, right? You know what I'm saying? Look, these people right here. These people. This Pocahontas tribe. Now watch this. This what they were also living like on the land. So they was already here in America before Christopher Columbus, before James Smith, before all of them. That's how they had to come and greet them. Look, put crowns on, you know what I'm saying? Put golds and crowns and jewels and present them, make them feel like kings and all this stuff, right? All right. If you go to Pocahontas, which is these people right here. Look what these people look like, right? So I said, wait a minute. I said, man, you sure like land because you just put me on to something. Now this Pocahontas, right? Look who Pocahontas would look like. Tekashi 69, right? Hold on. Tekashi 69, right? You can't change a leopard spot. That's who, and guess who else they look like? Y'all remember that lady, Lisa, and the full force and the coat jam? Y'all remember that lady? She was she's a singer, right? Now she from New York. Look where she from. She got Puerto Rican descent. So I said, man, these Jewish people know how to do stuff. All right. She from the island, from Puerto Rico, right? This in mind, she was young and a teen, you know what I'm saying, doing, you know, going to club underages and stuff, right? So I had to read all of this, and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense then. So I said, well, if that makes sense, Rihanna gonna make sense. Cause look what Rihanna looked like, just like Pocahontas now, bro. Just like Pocahontas. Now I had found this out, right? I said, oh, that's why. You know what I'm saying? Boom, when you get Rihanna, you know what I'm saying? Look, there will be the same image in Pocahontas' image. Boom. Boom. See that? Boom. And then look, then it makes sense when I say, hey, then you got to go to Jennifer Lopez. Because once you go to Jennifer Lopez do not want to identify what race that she actually is. See what I'm saying? Look, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm basically saying, bruh, now you got Nigeria was breeding with these people, right? You got Nigeria, but check this out. If you go to hold on, Angela Bassett, you could even go to Angela Bassett and you look the way she look in this junk, she just look like a lighter skin than Angela Bassett. Hold on. Angela Bassett. Look, no different. No different. You see what I'm saying? Look just like her. So I was like, wait a minute. This is what I found out, guys. I said, man, the Jews, them folk done bought all the radio stations. They done bought all the Hollywood rights. Boy, everybody already know they done created this money system. All this system they got going on, we a part of, they the one created all of that, right? So when I started in the Leah case, I said, it all makes sense now. I said, man, it makes so much sense to me now that when it comes to the Kanika Jinky K, bro, this what that lady showed me, like, I would never figure this out. Hold on. Afro Fiji people. Now, look at these people. When y'all think about when they were like, y'all know Jesus had white woolly hair. Then the Bible say Jesus had white woolly hair. Think about this. Man, y'all know Jesus died at 33 years old. That's what they said. Jesus died at 33. So I'm quite sure, you know what I'm saying, you can visualize a 33-year-old man with hair like this. Check this out. I would never know this. I would never know nothing about these African Fiji people. They call them Afro Fijis, right? Hold on. Here they go right here.
Bula Vinaka, Melanesian people of the Fiji
And look where they at.
Island. I come from a country that made up of different tiny small islands put together, and we are called Fijians. When I look at the whole photographs, when I look at the way we dress, the display.
And then look, make it so bad, bro. You can go back to all the 60s and the 70s, Motown pictures. Man, you can even go back to your own relative back in the 70s when they used to all take pictures and with the afros and all of this. You see what I'm saying? So look.
Our identity and way of life, I began to have this question in mind: where do we come from? And I began to wonder, where must we come?
So what? So the Fiji Afro people, right, was breeding with the Native American, which there's Pocahontas. They come from the. Don't you remember when your grandma used to be like, yeah, we got Cherokee in our family, you know what I'm saying? We got that good long wavy hair, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You're going to get it from the Native Indian. They're going to let you know that you was actually breeding with the Indian. And look how we was all living peace amongst each other. You see what I'm saying? You would have this tribe in the cahoots with this tribe. You see what I'm saying? Oh, look, when they come back to Chinese, look, I'm glad that you said that. Because look, yeah, I got to get to Carla B. They go for Carla B too. Look, Carla B. You see how all of them look the same, bro? Look, Carla IB, what she identified as? Said she was. You can even look at her name. She from. Damn, that's her name. So she wasn't even born here. So that means Carla B then would be immigrants then. Hold on, well, early career, right? Her father named Carlos from the Dominican, you know what I'm saying? Dominican Republic. And it's a Trinidad mix. And also identified Afro-Caribbean. Now look at all these different Afro. You got the Black Hispanic and the Latino Hispanic. So I looked into this, right? So I was like, boom. All right. I looked into all of this. When I looked into it, I went back to the book of Genesis. Cause when I went back to the book of Genesis, I wanted to know where Cain went to. Check this out. This is where Cain went to, right? Because a lot of y'all ain't gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. Right here. The Garden of Eden is somewhere up in here. All right. The Jews know this. Because before Africa was called Africa, it was called Akibale. It's called the land Eve. You know, the Garden of Eve. You know what I'm saying? The Mother Earth. That's why they came out with a Tarzan movie. You know what I'm saying? And named the movie out of Tarzan. Supposed to be a white man. You know what I'm talking about? In a jungle. And he was getting raised by monkeys. And actually, they were talking about Africans, right? But if you look at the story, it's something similar to Adam and Eve. So when you read the book, right? So when Cain fled the garden, right? Cain ended up all the way over here in India and China, right? India and China, right? This is why they wear the mark in the middle of their forehead. I didn't know this. That's why their race will put the little red dot in the middle of their head. They'll tell you it means something else, but that red dot, that's when God put a mark in the middle of Cain's head. You know what I'm saying? They cast him out the garden, right? And told him, when they see you got the mark up on your head, nobody shall not do nothing to you. So look, he came to India. Once you go to India, right? All right. Now, they need to teach all of this in the history book. Because you're going to have pyramids. That's where they finna come up with the dragon. Because you know China was big with the dragon, right? Y'all know China used to have those parades back in the day. So look, Cain done settled down and boom. That's where you finna get Buddha from. You finna get the Buddha, the other statue goddess. I forgot her name, but I can pull all that stuff up. All right. So look, boom. Now, this where you finna get all the giants from. This where you finna get the whole motherland. You know, like, that's why the Jews right now, right here, that's why they want all of this land. And Iranians don't want it. And another way to look at it, right? If you look at Israel, look at the route. Man, you can, boom, walk here to Iran, keep going straight, all the way right here. Look, all the way right here. Boom. Look, a straight route. So when they said when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, right? Bethlehem right up in here somewhere, right? Should be right up in here somewhere. There you go, right here. Bethlehem, right here, right? If Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Jerusalem right here, right? When they said the mans came all the way from the east and they followed the east star, they came from over here. China. I didn't even know that. Even the Bible said China. I said, damn, they came from China? So they came all the way over here, boom, to bring gifts to Jesus. All right. So at that time, check this out. Y'all remember Lot? I mean, not Lot, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? This what else I found out about the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, in the Bible, they're going to show y'all Israel with the land with like, yeah, this Ham, Shem, Jacob, all of this. And this land going to be promised to Israel, who were Canaanites said. And I'm like, oh, the Canaanites right here, then you got all the Hebrews. You can pull all this up on the map, right? This one thing I learned. All those names that I just named, they got the same town in the city over here from Ethiopia, from Tarzan to Kenya, Somalia, to all the way to Egypt. All the way is the land of Canaan, put all of this. And they, when they, look, let me see, can I do it this way? So they renamed all the cities where you get the Canaanites from, you know what I'm saying, the Hittite, all of them. They done changed all their names and named it right up in here and put this in the Bible, be like, yeah, this the land of Ham, Jacob, this the land to the whole 12, promised land to the 12 disciples. Israelite. So I said, man, that's some cold shit. Cause if you look at the Donald Trump war, right? With Donald Trump, that's why they into it. Cause of this. That's why China gonna bag Iran up. That's why, you know what I'm saying, everybody gonna bag Iran up except for these folk, except for Yemen. All these people down here. So yeah, the Chinese people black too. Yes, they just don't show it, but they got a strong heritage when it comes to black. Hold on. Hold on. All right, this is what they look like. Right?
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Can't play all that song and stuff. Ain't nothing changed in the United States. Ain't nothing changed in the United States. So what Christopher Columbus and them did, what all the slaves did, this is what they did. They already lie and say, look, we discovered America and we brought them here. Now, we was already here with indigenous people. You see what I'm saying? We've been scattered all over the world. So guess what Satan wanted to do? Man, you got the mixed breed. Once you just say like Kamala Harris, check this out. This one thing I do know. Kamala Harris race exposed. Now, I thought this lady was black, bruh. I thought this was a black lady. This lady do not have no black. Look what she got. Look where they said she from. India, bruh. And then when they said she from India, when she got exposed, she really do look like Indian people, bruh.
Never, and I mean never, say, sorry to bother you. Sorry to bother you. I appreciate.
Vice President Kamala Harris looks to be a shoo-in for the Democratic nomination, following Joe Biden's dramatic exit from the race. But many commentators are saying Kamala Harris is no better than Joe Biden.
Look, I thought the lady was black, coming to find out she ain't even black. The lady from India, bruh. She from India. And then when they got exposed, I started looking at the face feature. I'm like, man, that lady show is India. So now you got to go back to Christopher Columbus when he wrote in the note. Because if you go look at her, right, and if you go look at all these people that can go for black people, just say like Obama, it makes you question, man, if Obama, do he got black ancestry in him? You see, is he one of those type of breeds that he can actually go for black? Because Donald Trump really put him on blast. Was like, hey man, you know you weren't born on American soil. Now how you gonna be president? You got to be born on this land. All right. So look, man, these folks said Chris America, but we was already here, and guess what? It was already schools over here. It was already houses. It was it didn't make it so bad. The ones, because you had the ones that stayed in the jungle, that still were living, you know what I'm saying, like that Adam and Eve life, you know, that jungle life. But you also had the ones that had their houses, you know, their chairs, and you know what I'm saying. These folks already had banks, hospitals, everything. Buildings and everything. Look what Christopher Columbus, where he come from, that man already had church. You know, they already folks had big ass church buildings and structures and towers and all this. You don't think that was already over here in the United States? So look where I'm finna get at. So I said, man, look, when it comes to the Kanika Jinga case, the Illuminati is real. The Illuminati is so real because it just exposed that, hey, you can come R. Kelly right here. Married an underage girl in Rosemont. He wasn't even the only one. They falsified documents. These people go to these hotels to do rituals, you know what I'm saying? Praise Satan. Man, look, these people even got a Satanist church there. I ain't even know none of this stuff. Look, if you want to go back to 1994, and then look at the music at the height of their careers in 94, 95, 96. Right? 94, 95, 96. Now look when she died in 2001. That's why the girl had to die in a plane crash. Just like Kobe had to die in a plane crash. Look how many celebrities actually died on private planes. They've been doing this shit since Motown. Trump them, bro. And then I used to think Trump was cool because I see him at the Mike Tyson fight. You know what I'm saying? When I see him in the same room with black people, you know what I'm saying? He come with and show support and all this. But y'all got to realize that, man, these people evil just like he is. They sell out just like he is. Them folk wanted to go to those party with those Trump party with those underage girls, and these people got booty pageants of girls and all of this stuff, bro. You see what I'm saying? And then I can show y'all all this on the map how Rosemont got that shit set up. Look. Man, look how Rosemont got all of this stuff set. Look how they got the whole city built. This is the city of Rosemont. Man, look how big the airport is. Only thing around here is nothing but hotels. Hotels, shopping centers, malls. You know what I'm saying? All this town is just about, boom, come and spend your money here. That's why they got an airport. This is why all this shit up on the ground. Look, all these, you got a whole city up on the ground. And then when I was trying to show the world like this here, right? This how they would get it. This how they'll get away with shit. Crown Plaza Hotel right here. It's an underground city by you to look at the road. If I'm up on the ground city, right? Man, you can walk all the way over here to the hospital. Well, to the surgery clinic. Because this is where they do the surgery at. Right behind the movie theaters. They go to movie theaters. You see what I'm saying? You got the movie theaters right here. You got the hotel right here, all on the same block. You get from underground, from right up in here, all the way up, do your organ harvesting, right? Here go the police station. All this up on the ground, surrounded by more other hotels, and here go the mall right here, because they said you could even take the elevator down in the outlet mall and actually go shopping on the ground in Rosemont. Look, they call it I forgot what they call it. They said they got a whole it's a tunnel that lead. They say it's a tunnel that leads somewhere to Chicago, somewhere up in here somewhere. I got to go back to it and refresh my mind. But it's a tunnel that can lead, I think, all the way to downtown Chicago. Over here somewhere. So now look. This what I got at. I said, man, look. The hotel, this whole city is about organ harvesting. This is a town that you could come in, celebrities, they could come in here. Get a hotel. Cause they so well protected. They have Masons meeting here. You know what I'm saying? They bring actors here to do their rituals. They hold ceremonies there. All types of events. These hotels done turned into a whole Jewish fraternity and a Masonic club, bro. That's all it is. If you go to H&H Home, right? H&H Home. H&H Home. They running this same organization like H&H Home. Look how they got it all in the block. 1 hotel, 2 hotel, 3 hotel, 4 hotel. And this building, I try to identify what kind of building this is. It won't let me identify because when I try to find, they got restaurants in here and they got hotels in here, but it ain't say nothing about no hotel though, because it's like multiple, because you got an insurance building in here. You got multiple business in these buildings. So when Franz K sent me that letter, bruh, the man said the organ harvest is real in Rosemont. It's surrounded. I said, well, here go the building right here then. This where they got popped at. Down here. Somewhere down here where the school system met, I believe. It's on down the street. It's down here somewhere. I don't think it's that far down though. But that's where they got caught organ harvesting it the first time. It's down this street somewhere. Because I remember you got to turn off a little bit. We gotta turn off. Yeah, I think right up in her, I believe. And this it. No, it ain't even down. It ain't even that far. Damn, I got the fact. That's what they got caught organ harvesting at the first time. That's how they got sued. I mean, upon the investigation, right? So I said, man, look, the whole Rosemont run is ran really. To be honest, Chicago really running the goddamn the whole president. The whole Washington, D.C., the White House, they really running all that because of those Jewish people, bruh. Those Jews is so real. That's why they started the Illuminati, because the Illuminati is for the young folk. All right. So, all right. That's how he'll be looking. He get off on the boat and all this. He gonna keep his robe on. I ain't even know they had a $5 bill with Pocahontas on it. I ain't even know that. That was something new to me. I said, man, they got Pocahontas on the $5 bill, and then they try to make it look like Pocahontas is from Jamestown, Virginia, right? That's what she looked like. Allegedly, they depicted her like a Native American lady. You know what I'm saying? And then look how they depict her image and try to make her look, changing the colors and all this. And then look how they switched up the lady look. All right. So when I read all of this stuff and read the Bible again, because once you go to King James, check this out. Let me show y'all who King James related to. He the one that gave us the Bible. Translated it for us. And then put his name on the Bible. Hold on, where he at? Right here, King James. If you know who King James is, look. They all related to Queen Elizabeth. They all related, bro. Because when I was looking at King James, I said, man, he was a king of Scotland. He ain't the King James that was walking with Jesus. Put it like that. He wasn't the King James that walked with Jesus. Like I was thinking at first, and I'm thinking, oh, this James, the one that walked with Jesus, this the one that, you know what I'm saying. But it ain't him. He a king from Scotland, king of England, Ireland, right? From the Union. Until his death, he died in March 1603. Oh no, in 1629. All right. He was in Scotland. He was of the personal Union, England. You know what I'm talking about. James is the son of Mary, Queen of Scotland. Keep this in mind, right? If Jesus was black, right? Y'all remember, you know what I'm saying? They like, yeah, you know, Jesus black, white hair, you know what I'm saying, woolly hair. Now, why they depict Jesus' mother white? Because if you go back, if Jesus have a woolly hair, what you think his mama hair gonna look like? Woolly also. You see what I'm saying? So look, let's go to Queen Mary. She the Queen of Scotland. She was Queen of Scotland to December the 14th, 1542 until she was forced adoption on the 24th in 1567. Somebody took her. The only surviving ligament child of James and Scotland. So yeah, somebody kidnapped his daughter or something. His mama or something. Mary was the 6-day-old when her father died, and she inherited the throne. During her childhood in Scotland, was governed by the regent first by the thrones of Jane Hamilton. All right. So this all dealing with France. Hold on. Yep, I read all this about Jane. I want to go back to Jane. Because once you go back to Queen Elizabeth, you go to Queen Elizabeth. Once you go and look up Queen Elizabeth, is related to King James. And I trace these people family all the way back, just like Obama folk. I went back to all his family tree, right? Matter of fact, let me do it now. Obama brother slave. Hold on. Obama had family. Here you go, right here. Right here.
Much has been made of President Obama's personal history. The president hails from Chicago, certainly was born in Hawaii, even lived for a brief period of his life in Indonesia. Now a genealogist has turned up an unexpected branch in his family tree. Lisa Sylvester is joining us once again from Washington. What did the search uncover, Lisa?
Well, this is a story that might take a few people by surprise, not because the first African-American president has an ancestor who may have been a slave, but because the link has been made on his white mother's side of the family.
President Obama's story is well known. His father from Kenya, his mother from the United States. But Ancestry.com says it has mapped out the Obama family tree going back 11 generations with stunning conclusion. Anastasia Harmon is the company's lead family historian.
So our conclusion is that President Obama, the first African-American president, is the 11th great-grandson of the first documented enslaved African in what would become the United States.
The link is made not from his father's side, but from his mother, Ann Dunham's lineage. She was connected back to a man named John Punch. Records show Punch, who lived in Virginia, had children with a white woman. Those children later became known as the Bunch family. The findings of the 2-year study are now.
Now y'all heard that right? Keep this in mind. Guess who owned him though? I'm gonna show y'all who owned him.
Now posted on the company's website. So how did the research team figure this out?
As we're going, from President Obama to his mom and grandmother and great-grandmother, you're looking for like birth and marriage and death records, all those kind of records. As we get farther back in time, though, they weren't kept, or they've been destroyed over time. Civil War, a lot of records are destroyed, fires, floods, and things like that. So we start looking at what we call surviving records, church records, land records. And so when we get really far back into, like, here, John Bunch III, who's born in 1680, from here on out, we're looking at land records.
Did he say 1680? When it come to the records, hold on, not Christopher Columbus. The goddamn war. Damn, I lost it. 69. That's all right here. Now look. So look. if you got the Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? All this, they were talking about 1680, so this gonna be like goddamn 70 years later. I mean 60 something years earlier. I mean, well after the fact of the Pocahontas in Virginia. So that means in the 1600s in Virginia. Watch this.
University of Maryland history professor Ira Berlin says all of this is perfectly plausible because there was a time when white indentured servants and black slaves freely intermingled.
They work together, they sleep together, they play together. Eventually they have children together. The status of those children follow the status of their mother. That is, if your mother is white, then you will be free.
Lineage has become a fascinating side topic of this political season, from Mitt Romney's Mormon roots to the president's ancestry. But what matters, says CNN contributor Roland Martin, is not so much the past, but the future.
This is not going to mean anything when it comes to
African slave traders and sold to Portuguese slavers, who named him Antonio. They later sold him into the Atlantic slave trade. A colonist in Virginia bought him as an indentured servant. See, in the beginning of slavery, they weren't called slaves, they were called indentured servants, meaning they were held captive until they worked for a certain amount of time, usually 4 to 7 years. Once they finished their terms, they could freely acquire land and capital. See, slave laws wasn't passed until 1661, and blacks were not considered to be enslaved. So because of this, Johnson was an unfree laborer. In 1623, he married a woman named Mary, who he would be married to for more than 40 years and had 4 kids. In 1635, he and Mary finished the terms of their servitude, and he changed his name to Anthony Johnson. By 1651, the government gave him 250 acres of land under Meet Anthony Johnson. In the early
I bet y'all done pause again. Look, check this out, right? If you got Obama related to the Bush family, he got blood of the Bush family in him, and the Bush family got blood of them in there. What that's telling you? And then the Anthony Johnson dude, that's why his name came up about Obama ancestry, because once you just really just look this research, you'll be like, I didn't know this dude was related to Obama, and Obama family was the first slave family in Virginia. When I read that, I said, Obama family? Because his name was Obama then. You know, their last name wasn't Obama. I don't know where that Obama shit come from. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know where that Obama shit come from. But Obama had family, and they was the first slave in Virginia, and it was documented. His name was John. Goddammit. Trying to unfreeze. I had did some settings to this laptop, and I done tweaked something, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what that did, and this jump been tweaking ever since. Yeah, I'm good. I got the mic check on, you know what I'm talking about? I had accidentally paused that job. But if you got Obama, well, his family was the first family slave in the Virginia. At that time,
honored to bring to you the 41st president, a great dad, George H.W. Bush.
We all know his father, but what about his cousins? Check out this family tree, done with research by Ancestry.com. Vice President Dick Cheney, the man who's only a heartbeat away from the presidency, is actually a blood relation. He's President Bush's 9th cousin once removed. Cheney's cousin Barack Obama is also Bush's 11th cousin and the 9th cousin of Brad Pitt. But we're only just getting started. President Lincoln was President Bush's 7th cousin 5 times removed, and Bush shared more than just a ballot with John Kerry. That's right, they're 9th cousins twice removed. There's also royalty in the Bush bloodline. Princess Diana was Bush's 11th cousin twice removed. And then there's this bombshell. Sure, she may have been singing to JFK, but what about GWB? He is, after all, her 9th cousin 3 times removed. He's also related.
Just like Marilyn Monroe. They try to have Marilyn Monroe make JFK look bad, cause y'all know JFK supposed to been a lover man and all this shit, you know what I'm talking about. So this what I found out, y'all. The history books ain't what it is, bro. When I read that Bible, especially the book of Enoch, man, the book of Enoch, them folk even were talking about. I didn't even know this was possible. You can breed out somebody's DNA. You can actually breed out the DNA. This ain't like, for a prime example, this how you could do it. If you got a dog, let's say you got a pit bull, and you got and you like, let me find a mate for my pit, and I'm gonna mate it with a different breed of dog, and I'm gonna keep breeding until that pit is out their DNA. You got to start out with the baby every time. Boom. So when that dog have puppy, breed it with another dog. Cause you really finna breed out the DNA. It's like Kool-Aid. If you put a package in the Kool-Aid in 1,000,000-ton gallon of water, you know what I'm talking about? Alright.
To Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler.
See how Pocahontas' name came up? That's all I'm just trying to say. You see how Pocahontas, now you trying to see, look.
Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, even Pocahontas, and Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad is in the Paula, known as Dracula. Of course, the Bush and Obama are related in this infamous blood suckers. It runs in their family. That's why, look, make it so bad. They knew something that we didn't know when they showed Passion of the Christ. What was that movie that devil looked just like Obama? Hold on, Obama the Antichrist.
Trace the family tree far enough, and you get Madonna, Celine Dion, and Tom Hanks.
And then look who Tom Hanks related to. Watch this. Tom Hanks related to Mr. Rogers. I didn't even know they were related. So I looked into it. I said, what? I did. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's why he had a kids show. All about kids in this fantasy house with the rain and all this old. I ain't even know they were related. Tom Hanks. So look, they all look just like each other. They all related. They all look just like each other. Madonna and them, all of them. So when it come back to the Kanika Jigga case, that's what I was trying to tell y'all. I'm like, man, look, man, these people know they secret. Just imagine that. These people know where they come from. They know their history. Look, man, look, before the King James Version, the Dead Sea Scrolls and all this, man, you could check this out. You can actually trace the Clinton family back to the Bible, bro. Cause guess what? I didn't even know they family go that far. Hold on. Matter of fact, check this out. This shit finna sound crazy. Gilgamesh. If you go to Gilgamesh, right? Look. If you go to Gilgamesh, man, you finna be like, oh my God. Cause when I trace the Clinton family back, man, when I say, man, the Clinton, man, them ain't nothing but a bunch of shit. Man, them folk had something to do with Jesus' assassination, bro. Got to find out the family tree. Got to find out the family tree. You know what I'm talking about? If you think I'm lying, right, watch this. That's why Hillary Clinton, look, watch this.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah. Gilgamesh, who was the king of Uruk, in that whole region, you know, that's like where the Tower of Babel and stuff were built. The story talks about how he was 2/3 God and 1/3 man. And the claim was that he was 17 feet tall. The story goes that he was buried under the Euphrates River. In 2003, a archaeologist found the tomb of Gilgamesh. And so they start the process of digging it up. Guess what happened 1 month later? The U.S. invades Iraq, which it was in Iraq, and all the
Look, that's why we went to war in 2003. Hold on, I'm finna show it to y'all. War 2003 war. I'm finna go to the Iraq war. Now keep this in mind. Y'all remember what they told us about the real reason why we were going to war with Iraq and stuff? Here goes the war right here. Alright. Here go the war. In 2003, they invaded Iraq. Was the first stage of the Iraq. So look, they even said this was the first stage of the war, the Iraq war. The invasion began in March 20, 2003. Just over 1 month, including 29 days of major combat operation, the invade was conducted by the United States, right? And the America, British, Australia, and the polishing troops. President George Bush, Prime K, U.S. Tony Blair. That's when they talking about they got weapons of mass destruction. I thought we were going to war because of September the 9th. September the 11th. So they knocked down the buildings and you told the world who Saddam Hussein did it. Bin Laden did it, right? And blamed all this stuff and said, these folks got nukes out here, y'all. We need to go bomb them with the same shit Donald Trump feeding it. Look.
Archaeological sites were then stopped in Iraq, so stop digging. Yeah. And the U.S. military set up an encampment around the tomb site. They kicked out all the scientists, but the locals around this encampment reported that the U.S. military were digging at night.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. Look. Hillary Clinton, Gilgamesh. Now, if I told y'all this, if I said, y'all, I trace the Clinton family all the way back, because they're going to talk about them in the book of Solomon. Yeah, with King Solomon in the I think it's Song of Song. You can actually trace the Clinton family back all the way in the first King. Yeah, in the Bible, in the first King. In Solomon, first Kings and second King. Because they had something to do with the assassination of Hiram of Bill. The one that had the secret knowledge, the power, the password. And not really trace that shit back. So if you trace that shit back all the way to Gilgamesh, that's why you had Hillary Clinton like this here.
Quite unusual. I started being asked about UFOs.
What on earth is going on? Hello and welcome back. Things are getting really strange here in 2026. My name is Ginger. I'm your host. I'm an experiencer, and I've also seen 4 beings myself out here.
UAP or Gilgamesh and Gilgamesh. Did you ever inquire on the topic of UAP or Gilgamesh in your official or personal capacity, and why?
I was never denied access because I never asked for access.
In the efforts of having a transparent government and restoring faith within our country, do you believe that the American people deserve access to those topics?
I do. Subject to any national security implications, I think the information should be made available. I think that's been ordered, or at least I read that it had been ordered.
So why Gilgamesh? What is so important about him and his story? And why might...
And I'm going to tell you why I know. Because if you could find the Clintons had something to do with the Freemasonry in the Book of Kings, because if you really look at it, they the ones wanted that secret and never got it. Right? That's one thing that messed Freemasonry up. Because since they didn't tell them what the secret password, now nobody will never know about, what's the password. That's why the pyramid stay uncompleted. You see what I'm saying? That's why the pyramid ain't completed. That's why it's missing the roof on top of it. If you go back to when they was talking to fallen angels, that's when they were talking to fallen angels. You can read this in the book of Genesis. You see what I'm saying? You have fallen angels coming down here interacting with people in Africa. They got UFO sightings in Africa, Egypt. They even carved this shit on the wall.
To connect to Hillary, UAPs, and the Middle East. To explore that question, we have to start at the very beginning. Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the oldest known stories in human history. Written in cuneiform on clay tablets in ancient Mesopotamia, known as modern Iraq, around 2000 to 1200 BCE. It tells the story of Gilgamesh, a powerful king who goes on epic adventures and searches for the secret of immortality after the death of his friend Enkidu. Some UFO researchers link the story to the ancient astronaut theory, suggesting the gods described in the tablets might actually
Look, you can read this story in the Bible. Watch this. Now, these supposed to be fallen angels. Remember how they were like, yeah, they fighting immortal people. These people. So look, there you go right there. On top of the pyramid, bro. He a giant. And this in Iraq. So you got these people talking about giants in Iraq. Then you got the Gilgamesh, right? And then these people got the 2000 war and told everybody, hey, we need to go over that giant and let's say this man had something to do with September 9th. And let's go over there and take the oil and not, but it wasn't about no oil. It was a spiritual war. It was a spiritual war. And guess what they said? They even documented said they actually went to war with a giant in 2003 in Iran. Look, I'm finna pull it up. Military went to war with giant and that. Hold on. Air Force attacked by unidentified creature in Kazar. And this shit for real.
Intense military training. I had become a Navy SEAL, joined my first SEAL team, which was SEAL Team 2 in Virginia, and I had joined my platoon, my 25-man.
See how Virginia always come up? Y'all just don't know Virginia is a Virginia state is very important, bro. Because that's what Jamestown is in Virginia.
And platoon. We had gone through all this additional training at the team to prepare for deployment, and here I was 3 years to the day, almost exactly, from when I went to boot camp, getting ready to deploy as a Navy SEAL to Afghanistan. But none of that training would prepare me for how intense my first couple of weeks in Afghanistan would be. So the flight to Afghanistan is pretty routine until you enter Afghanistan airspace. When your pilots let you know, hey, you've entered Afghanistan airspace, they turn the lights to red in the inside of the plane, and they get ready to descend very rapidly into the base where we would be landing. You know, we can't afford to be in the air for any longer than we have to be because there's a risk of getting shot. So there's a super steep descent, and then they tell you to stay away from the windows, right? So you're avoiding the windows in case you get shot at. And I remember thinking like, wow, like this is really it. We're here, we're in a war zone. Like we're nosediving into bases to avoid getting shot at. Like it was intense, and I'm in my 20s. Like it was just kind of cool. Then the ramp opened, the back of the plane opened, and we all got out, and we're inside of this very well fortified base. You know, we're safe in here. And immediately I was struck by the just stunning beauty of the landscape. And I remember looking out at all these snow-covered mountains. And I remember thinking like, how is this a war zone? This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I don't think I really appreciated just how foreign of a place Afghanistan is relative to where I come from. We get out to our site, and that night they wanted to go, they being the team that we were relieving, they wanted us to go on an operation. We were going to be up in the mountains. And I remember distinctly them talking about the cave systems that were in these mountains. And I remember thinking like how creepy that was, that we would be up on these mountains, walking around. It's so isolated, it's so foreign, and there could be like people hiding in caves that we could accidentally fall into one of their caves. Like it really, really creeped me out. And so I was talking about how creepy these caves were, and the interpreter was like, you know, what's really creepy is back in 2002, there was this fairly well documented case of another special operations unit, the Army Green Berets, coming in contact with a creature in a cave, and they actually got into a battle with it, and they lost one of their soldiers to this creature. And it was fairly well documented, but then it was quickly kind of silenced. I mean, certainly the story was interesting, but I didn't really believe it. Maybe it was some animal, maybe it was some person, whatever it was, there was some explanation to it. It wasn't until now that I actually started exploring different strange occurrences and strange events, and I looked and found some testimony from one of the soldiers that came forward anonymously, who was a part of this operation where they came in contact with this creature in Kandahar. And what struck me about his testimony is it sounds authentic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell that soldier's story, and I'm going to tell the other kind of corroborating witness stories as well to try to.
It's very important because look, they found that John in Afghanistan, right? This is what Bin Laden did, right? In Afghanistan. This is why we invaded Afghanistan. It's a whole lot of mountains carving there, bro. Man, I can show y'all Afghanistan still messed up from that war. Right today. They still messed up from that war, bro. That town still demolished. Hold on.
Try to give you a picture of what happened in Kandahar in 2002, and you can be the judge if you think this is fact or fiction. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the one knew what was going on. They didn't call in a TIC, which stands for Troops in Contact. Basically, any military unit, if you're out on an operation and you start getting shot at, you radio in to your higher command, hey, troops in contact, or TIC, which signals to them, you need to get aircraft on standby. You need to get ready to send reinforcements.
I need to know. It's taking too goddamn long. I need to, see, everybody know about it.
In 2016, the internet was abuzz with interviews from U.S. military personnel detailing their encounter with a 13-foot giant in the wilderness of Afghanistan. According to one military contractor, in 2002, the U.S. Special Forces encountered and killed a giant after suffering one casualty to the cryptid spear. The story went around the world and back again, with theories bolstered by a mixture of fiction and facts. The official government response consisted of one statement claiming that they have no records of such an event or any giant men being slain by their forces in Afghanistan or anywhere else. But what really happened in 2002 to the U.S. military? In the year immediately following the 9/11 attacks, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan in what it called Operation Enduring Freedom. It wouldn't take long for the event to become known as the War in Afghanistan, which lasted until 2021 and was one of the primary campaigns in America's War on Terror. This explains the widespread presence of the U.S. military on Afghan soil. According to one interview in 2002, a few U.S. soldiers disappeared during a patrol in Kandahar, a remote region of southern Afghanistan. The story told in the interview and then repeated by other sources goes as follows. The U.S. Army HQ sent a group of Special Forces, U.S. Navy SEALs in particular, to investigate the sudden end of radio contact. While the small unit investigated the disappearance, they found a cave in the mountain strewn with military equipment, but no soldiers or their remains in sight. The scene suggested the unit was ambushed by someone or thing and either fell down the steep drop or were trapped in the cave. However, the lack of initial request for aerial backup, which was the standard for the U.S. military, was odd and inexplicable. And then something came out of the cave, and it wasn't entirely human. According to the report from one of the soldiers, the creature was a humanoid red-head giant, between 12 and 15 feet tall, with 6 fingers on each hand and presumably 6 toes on each foot. Before they could take aim, one of the soldiers rushed the creature, which would be a deadly mistake.
And check this out. And scientists prove they did a DNA on Gilgamesh, and they found out that who related to the giant. So if you go back to Afghanistan, bro, why you think United States cannot fuck with Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan and Pakistan? Right? If you go to the story in the Bible about David and Goliath, look where they was fighting at. They was still, look, bro, I believe them militaries over there and these giants over there, bro. The Bible said, hey, I ain't just gonna be down here. They look just like hermits. They gonna be in caves. And look at all these caves that been discovered. Every time when they discover a cave, man, it's another war finna break out. Them folks said they done found a whole civilization that stay up on the ground. They don't even come to the ground, you know what I'm saying, to the land, to the top where we at. Them folks got a underground city, bro. Oh.
The giant impaled the foolhardy soldier with a spear. The remaining soldiers opened fire and killed the giant after what was reported to be close to 30 seconds of continuous firing. Now bear in mind that it usually doesn't take more than a second or two for a person to get shredded by bullets from an entire squad. The soldiers immediately called for a medevac, which was a Chinook helicopter, and the giant was scooped up and transported away. Then all involved parties signed an NDA to never reveal any details about what happened in the Kandahar Mountains. But that changed in 2016 when some of the soldiers broke their NDA because the world deserved to know the truth. And that's pretty much the extent of the video from 2016. The short film made by author and filmmaker L.A. Marzulli, a self-proclaimed expert on cryptids and the supernatural, used 2 interviews with soldiers who were involved or knew of the event that transpired in 2002. Immediately, theories started to materialize about the Giant of Kandahar. According to Marzulli, the giant's appearance nicely aligns with the biblical interpretation of the Nephilim, commonly seen as giants. According to Marzulli,
now the Nephilim. Now, guess what? This why you finna get the real war, right? Because you know the Nephilims came up, right? Watch this. Who are the Nephilim? Look. Who are the Nephilims? Check this out. Hold on. Indian believe? Hey, Trey Game from the look. When I told y'all the shit that I found out about India, bro, that's what Cain went to. Cain went to India and he went to China. He went to India and he went to China and started religion. He was like a preacher there. And then look.
I think we're in those times. And I think every great civilization has had these times.
Nephilims. Watch this. Everything you need to know about the Nephilims in 20 minutes. Joe Rogan know who the Nephilim is. Look, it's a lot of people know who the Nephilim is. I'm going to let him tell it because he look like he'll get straight to the point.
Well, Genesis 6.
Were the sons of God, hold on, watch this. Were the sons of God in Genesis 6 fallen angels, were they Nephilim?
Well, Genesis 6, verses 1 to 4 is a difficult text. And as we attempt to interpret it, we should be humble because there are different interpretations that have been taken of this text. And I don't think that whatever interpretation we take, I don't think we should be divisive with other Christians in the church or among the people of God. There are 3, Genesis 6 says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they chose the daughters of men for themselves as wives, and they married them. So the question is, who are the sons of God that are marrying the daughters of men? Well, there are 3 different interpretations. One is that the sons of God is a reference to the godly line of Seth. Cain killed Abel, so after Abel died, Adam and Eve had relations, and Seth was born, and Seth carried on the godly faith of Abel. So one idea is that the sons of God are the descendants of Seth, marrying the daughters of men, the ungodly line of Cain. Second interpretation is that the sons of God refers to angels, angelic beings, intermarrying with humans. The third idea is that the sons of God are heroes from the mythical past, tyrant kings. We have stories from the ancient Near East, for example. We have stories of a person by the name of Gilgamesh, and he was part god and part human and accomplished many mighty feats. So how do we find the right interpretation? The exact expression, sons of God, only occurs 4 or 5 times in the Hebrew Bible. We have one occurrence here in Genesis 6. We have 2 occurrences in the introduction to the book of Job. In the introduction to the book of Job, we see God gathering in his heavenly court, his heavenly assembly with the angels. And the angels are called sons of God there. There's another occurrence in the book of
And keep this in mind, that's not the same God that we thinking. Because you know the God that we supposed to be praising only had one son. One only begotten son. Right? So that means God can have no other kids because he only had one child and his son was Jesus. Right? So that's why God had to send Jesus through a virgin birth because he didn't believe in having sexual relations with her. Because if you got angels coming down here and it's forbidden for angels to be doing that, to have sex with humans, they're just like having sex with a animal or something else other than a human. You know what I'm talking about? That would be nasty, right? So if God was impregnated Mary through a spiritual birth, now you can see who the real God is. Because he didn't lay down with Mary and, you know what I'm saying, impregnated her, you know what I'm saying, through physical contact. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you about this Bible right now, this is what Kanika Jenkins really taught me, bro. Because when I had to go back and I had to read my Bible, bro, because I'm like, man, it's so much satanic all around that girl. And that's what it showed me, bro. That it really showed me that, man, Freemasonry, it exposed the whole Freemasonry for me. Like, I can't explain it. Like I would have never known. Just say, like, God only got one son. His name Jesus. But in the book of Genesis, you got somebody perpetrating as God, and he got sons that's going down there impregnating women, human women, and all this. That's not our God. Right? I believe that's Satan, you know what I'm saying, perpetrating in the book, in the Bible. Like, for a prime example, everything what the Bible said, all right. I believe when Satan, just say, if you look at the Adam and Eve creation, what if Adam and Eve was cloned after their own likeness? And they is the one that's going to interact with humans and breed with humans. And that's why you got Cain, evil, Seth, evil. Because if you look at all the people from that family tree, all them folk were killers, murderers, robbers, thieves, and all that old stuff, bro. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, man, look, the Garden of Eden is right here, because you're going to have the land of Put. You're going to have the land of Canaan. All of the Canaanites, it's the land of Canaan. You know what I'm saying? The Cushites, they done renamed all those cities and put them all in Israel and made it look like this the promised land right here. But really, the promised land is right here in Ethiopia. Ethiopia, from Kenya, all the way down to Tanzania, bro. All the way down, boom, to right up in here. Just like this here, like Johannesburg. Go look at the history about Johannesburg. If you go look at these people and look up the history of Johannesburg, then you'll be like, yeah. Because, you know, in South Africa, you know what I'm saying, you got some racist black people in Africa don't want no white people on they, because you got poor white people in South Africa. You know, Elon Musk was raised in South Africa. He told everybody, I was raised in South Africa, but he don't call himself an African dude. They don't mean that because you were born in Africa. They don't make you an African. If you take a pit bull and a big boy, what you gonna call it? Yeah, that's an African pit bull. Oh. All right. So when he was talking about the giant, they go back to Gilgamesh. Because look, all the wars were about giants, but they'll tell us it's about gas and oil prices, and that's all it is. You know, they just can't agree about the gas and the oil prices, but it's way bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. So look.
Of Job chapter 38. Where God is challenging Job, and he says, where were you when I created the world? When he created the world, the sons of God sang for joy. So it seems to, it also seems to be a very clear reference to angelic beings. The last occurrence is in Aramaic in the book of Daniel. When the king looked into the furnace, he saw four people there, and it says that one looked like a son of God, which would mean a divine being, an angelic being. There are only 5 occurrences in the entire Bible where we have the exact expression son of God or sons of God, and it always refers to angelic beings. We must distinguish this use from other places. There are other places in the Bible where they indicate that the relationship of a human to God is like a father-son relationship. So Adam and God have a father-son relationship. In the covenant that God makes with David, God and David have a father-son relationship. But it doesn't actually say that Adam is a son of God. It doesn't use that linguistic expression, and it doesn't say that David is the son of God. So the only time that linguistic expression occurs in the Bible, it always and very clearly refers to angelic beings. We also have the witness of the New Testament. So there are 2 passages in the New Testament that refer to this. One is 2 Peter chapter 2, and the other is the book of Jude. And both of these texts are very closely related to each other. In 2 Peter chapter 2, Peter is talking about how difficult days are coming for the Christians, and there will be people who deny the faith, who deny the truth about Jesus Christ, the truth about his work, who deny the gospel. There will be false teachers, and they will bring corruption into the church and destruction into the church. What Peter does is he appeals to the Old Testament, and he says, well, if God could deliver his faithful people in difficult times in the Old Testament, then he will be able to do it in the New Testament as well. Peter refers to 2 examples in the Old Testament. One is the story of of Genesis 6 and Noah, and the other is the story of Lot being rescued from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And if you look in the Greek text of 2 Peter, it's very clear that there are 2 examples and not 3 examples by the use of the word and. So if God did not spare the angels who sinned, and he delivered Noah, and he did not spare the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and he rescued Lot. So there are 2 examples joined by the word and And each example has two parts, a negative part and a positive part, a negative part and a positive part. So when Peter is talking about the angels who sinned, he's very clearly talking about Genesis chapter 6 because this is connected with the story of Noah. Some people
and it's going to connect it to Gilgamesh. Cause look, that's what they found out. They found out that Gilgamesh DNA, and they found out who all got his DNA in it. Mm-hmm.
Say, well, no, he's not talking about Genesis 6. Well, then my question to them is, if Peter is trying to encourage his readers from well-known stories in the Old Testament, and if the angels who sinned is not Genesis 6, then where else is the story? There is no other story in the Old Testament that it could be referring to. Some people think that it's the fall of Satan, but as we're going to see when we talk about that, there is no story in the Old Testament that describes the fall of Satan. Peter is very...
That's why they took it out the Bible. And that's why they took it out the Bible and put it in museums and stuff. Cause they trick you and be like, look, just get in the Bible and forget the rest of it. They'll be satisfied with this. And they already, and then look, keep this in mind. You gotta go back to King James. The King James, them, look how long they had possession of all the old manuscripts and all those scrolls and all the evidence. I didn't even know everything the Pope wore from the crown, from his head. All that shit was passed all the way down from Moses and them, bro. You see what I'm saying? So look, if you go, I didn't even know this. Did y'all know that the dude that helped Jesus carry the cross, he was a black man, bruh? I ain't even know that. And guess what? Then they said he was Nigeria, bruh. The dude that helped tote Jesus to the cross, he was Nigerian, bruh. And they got Texas on this stuff. I said, I didn't even know that. They were like, yup. He was black. Jesus was black. The dude that helped tote the cross. Even the one that hung on the cross. The one he said, if you believe in our Father, you believe in heaven. You know, you'll go to heaven. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't even know he was a black man, bruh. You see, I didn't even know none of this stuff. So look, that's why they said, man, look, Jesus had to flee all the way to Egypt. He was born in Bethlehem, but he had to flee all the way to Egypt amongst his people. Amongst his people, guess who you finna have? The Sudanese people, them the southern people, right? Hold up. Watch this. Now you finna see this stuff. When they say Jesus had woolly hair, look, you got people over here with woolly hair. Right here. And look what they dress like. That's what Jesus would dress like. In a tunic. You see what I'm saying? In the tunic. Right? These people. Now look at this.
Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In case you're new, please subscribe, hit the like button, and press the notification bell. So guys, this is another day, and we are going.
Now this gonna be by Ethiopia, right? Here goes Uganda, Ethiopia. This is why they call us monkeys and stuff, right? Okay, boom. So look, they fled. Look, the fallen angels fled from her, and they ended up in her. Well, this is why Jesus had to come to Israel and had to travel and teach the fallen angel, the demon. He went in the synagogue and everything. Was like, y'all doing this? Boy, my father gonna be mad when I tell him this shit. So if we look at the pattern, boom, all the way down to Kuwait, Iran, Afghanistan. Notice United States do not like Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. But they cool with Saudi Arabia. You see what I'm saying? They cool with Saudi Arabia. That's why Saudi Arabia got a problem with Iran. That's why Russia, look, check this out. China gonna bag them up. India gonna always bag them up in case Iran get in there. If the war get too big, best believe India, China, Russia, Korea, best believe finna all help Iran, Kuwait and them, all of them, bro. They finna come, and guess what they gonna do? Boy, they could attack America from this side. Check this out. They go South Korea right there. They go North Korea. Boy, they ain't gotta do nothing, just they could mob troops over here. Boom! They could shoot a missile over here and fuck all of this up. Boom! You see what I'm saying? Man, United States playing a dangerous game, bro. So look. So when I started looking into this, this is what the Sudanese people would look like.
To be fetching water. Our water is near here, but still we need to fetch it because you can't use it from there. So I'm going to.
Right?
Hey everybody, Walton Goggins here. Starting a business is never easy, but with GoDaddy Arrow, that endeavor is about.
Ah, damn, I think I done froze up again, goddamn it. Yeah, I done froze up again. So look, when they decorated the kitchen in Kanika, right? Y'all remember they had Kanika, they had the kitchen decorated in purple. I traced that name back, right? When I traced that name back, it go all the way to Congo, right up here. So I was like, damn. When I read the word and what it mean, it took me all the way back over here. And so I started looking it up in the Bible. And guess what I found out? I was like, man, look, not only that you would see what Jesus would actually look like, but you would know what Mary looked like. You see what I'm saying? Because the Catholic, they call Mary Madonna. You know what I'm saying? Why? You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I mean, Ethiopia, the Catholic people, they call her Madonna, and some Catholics call her the Virgin Mary. And they got it in their churches depicting them folk black as hell. Hold on. I'm finna show you the black Jesus. That's the first black Jesus baby I seen in the Catholic church. Oh man, I'm paused. I need to go tweak these settings, bro. Cause these settings here, man. Man, I don't know what's going on. Here we go. We back, y'all. We back. I just need to I think I know what I need to do.
Another one?
Man,
So which one?
Look what they look like. Now you see how black as hell these folks look? Look how black as hell these people look. All right, why did? The Catholic Church, black baby Jesus. Look in the Catholic Church. I want the black Jesus. I want that black John. Here go the folk right here. Bow down to it.
Claudio, what do we know about what happened at that meeting this morning? And can you explain to the viewers who don't know why this is so rare?
Well, all I can was you.
Now look how they got, look how black they got Look how they got black Jesus and his mama with crowns on the head. Cause when they tell y'all about Mary, cause look, when I looked up Mary in the Bible, and I'm like, they don't really just too much talk about Mary background and who her family was. You know what I'm talking about? So, so you got to Google this stuff. So they got to talk about Jesus' granddaddy. You know what I'm talking about? And I just never just thought about Jesus' granddaddy. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, what's up with the granddaddy? Like, then when you look up at his granddaddy, and then you will find out so much. You will find out, like, okay, how Jesus would be the son of David.
Of course, again, expressing and extending his gratitude for the 8 years of his papacy. And they went on into a very informal lunch, and then he flew back to the Vatican with the same helicopter. Well, I must say, to the great disappointment of the hundreds of people that gathered in Castel Gandolfo, hoping for the Pope or the Popes together to appear on that balcony, Alex.
See, the Pope knows something. And then look, you got Barack Obama is a Jew. Watch this. President Barack Obama, we all Jews. A Barack anniversary of Israel. Look how long they been. This was 17 years ago.
It is wonderful to be here on this historic occasion. I'm going to be very brief. I did want to come by because this is a time for Israelis, for Jews, and for all friends of Israel to celebrate the realization of a dream and to rededicate ourselves to uplifting the promise of Israel's independence. A few years ago, in the winter of 2006, I had the great privilege of traveling to the Holy Land. And as all of you know, it's a place unlike any on earth, a place filled with history, a place filled with promise, a place that's known moments of terrible darkness, but also extraordinary joy. One of the most joyful moments came 60 years ago this week, when the Jewish state of Israel declared independence. While that day marked a new beginning, it also concluded a journey unlike any in the history of the world. It's a journey that dates back to Moses, leading his people towards the promised land.
I told you, bruh. Man, we talking about this shit now. So look, with that speech being said, bro, he even said this shit go back to Moses. This how I'm trying to explain it. Okay. All right. King Solomon got killed, right? In Israel, right? Well, nobody don't know how he just really died, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. He had a temple was being built. Bill Clinton had relatives that was Freemasonry that was trying to get the password from King Habib and was unsuccessful, and they killed him. I ain't saying Clinton directly killed him, you know what I'm saying? His family did. This what they know. This what they know, because if I just found that out, they been knowing this. If I got to find out down y'all cousins, then shit would start hitting different. You'd be like, no wonder why Donald Trump is real close. No wonder why, you know what I'm saying, you got Obama play everybody, bro. Look, Obama right here. They know the truth. They can trace their history back to Moses, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Look, got his little Jewish little hat on.
Thank you.
So this what it look like. If they can trace their family all the way back to Moses' time, and I told y'all this here, man, them folk got something to do with Jesus' death. They got something to do with Jesus' death. All right. If you think I'm lying, watch this. the movie Passion of the Christ. Man, look, once you go to the movie Passion of the Christ, when he was talking to him, look.
Serious dictation was driving me crazy.
This shit's so
I switched to
crazy.
whisper flow. Here's why I'll never go back.
You see him? Now this the man that was trying to get Jesus out his situation. Right? He was trying to get him out of the situation, but Jesus still was getting crucified, right? Look.
To bustling marketplaces and
Look who he would look like. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, bruh. Bro, when I tell you, bro, these people had something to do with Jesus killing, bro. Because you know one thing they can't stop? The wars. Because look, if you go back to those wars in the Bible, they documented every war that was in the Bible. So basically, look, that's why you got Vladimir Putin will look just like him. All right, let's go to and guess who I linked him back up to? So I was like, wait a minute, bro, you could actually Google this stuff and be like, damn, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. So why you got these big news outlets? They don't even talk about none of this shit. They don't even talk about none of it. Cause if everybody wake up right now and find out, well, goddamn, all the president related? Yeah. So you mean to tell me the whole election when they were running against each other, they were all family? Yeah, they all family like a motherfucker. I thought these were just people just running against. No, man, these people sat at the round table and wrote the whole script down. They'll get you hyped up in the election again. They'll tell you, yeah, we want the best for the hair curl, you know what I'm saying, for the old people and for the young youth and all this old stuff. We want to we got a budget on health care, you know. All these, they finna psych everybody ass up, and whoever wins the best speech, they gonna win. They ain't even got to cheat no more now. See, you just put them all in there, just let everybody pick one. Boom, well, give me him then. But they all the same, goddammit. Look. Check this out. If you look up Vladimir Putin, right? And you look into this man, it's all gonna click like, damn. It's gonna click, bruh. It's gonna click.
كانت ملكة خداية.
So that's why you had Donald Trump was fucking with President Putin real bad. All right. So what else I can go to, goddammit? Get back to Donald Trump. So once you go to Donald Trump, right, and look at his early life, read all it. Donald Trump was born in Jamaican hospital in New York, you know what I'm saying, of Queens, Fred Trump. Y'all remember his daddy, Fred Trump. He was racist than a motherfucker, right? He racist as hell. But if you look up his history and keep going all the way back, like, let me show y'all, damn, I had some. All right. if you go back to like Christopher Columbus, so this is what I was doing. I went back all the way to the spouse. And keep this in mind, these people, kids still living. Yeah, they family must still exist right today. You know what I'm talking about? So now look. Now, I ain't even know this about him. This Christopher Columbus brother. Right? And if you look at Christopher Columbus brother, right, and see who he was, and see what he had going on, I ain't even know he was big in that religion stuff. He was so big in that religion stuff when it come to the Italian and Spain. This where you finna get the mob, all this from the mob. And then if you look, now keep these areas in mind, because all this gonna play role. Now, don't this make sense now? Don't this make sense now? Christopher Columbus, because be like, yeah, man, you know, we know about the Africans, all that. He gonna see the Ethiopians. He gonna see the Sudanese people. You know, he gonna know about the Afro-Caribbean people. You know what I'm talking about? All right. So that's why they got their certain peak when it come to the rap game. When it come to the females, best believe, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have some Native American needs. They gonna know who you will, bro. Right? Boom. Look just like Rihanna now. Carly B now. And then if you let Carly B grow her hair out, man, she got long, pretty thick hair though. You know when she let, I said, man, that's how she supposed to be wearing her hair. But they'll make you press it down like Pocahontas. You'll look even more finer. Wear that junk natural down like that. You know what I'm talking about? So look. Now, Dick Gregory was running for president. And he was running, when he was running for president, man, these folks tried to sue him because, see, Dick Gregory know he can look at a certain people, just like he can look at me and be like, yeah, I know what tribe you come from. He can look at you and be like, yeah, I know what tribe you come from. I can tell you who you will. And I can tell you who you will. He can do that. Cause Dick Gregory right here, I need to go to Bill Clinton, bro, so y'all can see this Bill Clinton. Hold on. Here we go. I think it was the West Indian students. Nah, it wasn't this one. It was on down here. They sued him and threatened to lock that man up because the man was marching with these indigenous people. What's their name on here? Hold on. Equal rights. Oh yeah, I got to get into JFK assassination. Please listen to when I say this. All this been revealed to me through the Kanika Jenkins case. Before the Kanika Jenkins case, I'm big on assassination. Matter of fact, I got all this paperwork right now in my files, and I be going over it and over it. Now keep this in mind. The JF assassination, everybody know the Rockefellers got something to do with it. And everybody know how evil the Rockefellers got something to do. They try to sabotage JFK through Marilyn Monroe and make him look like, you know what I'm saying, he dipping out on Jackie. He stepping out on the first lady. So they finna make him look like, you know what I'm saying, the unfit husband, right? Okay. They tried that. That was unsuccessful. Keep this in mind. Marilyn Monroe is related to Bush. That's her cousin. I guess they ninth cousin, right? But look, guess who was head of the Assassinating Committee at the time? George Bush daddy. All right? Check this out. The 3 hobos that got caught in the goddamn the train yard, with CIA agents, right? And one of those CIA agents is actor Harrison Woody's son. Check this out. Watch this. Actor Harrison Woody. This Harrison Woody. Right here, him. They look like, but they ain't him. Not this. Woody Harris. I think it's Woody Harrison. Actor Woody Harrison. Yeah, here we go right here. Check this out. Now look, his daddy was at the assassination of JFK. CIA. Look. Hold on. Woody Harris talk about his father, murder, and working with the CIA.
When you were 7 years old, your father went off to prison, convicted of murder.
Well, he is in prison right now for the killing of a federal judge. I think that it was not a fair trial, especially because the guy who supposedly hired my father to commit the murder was later acquitted on a retrial.
That's what I've heard.
I'm not saying my father's a saint, but I think he's innocent of that.
You said once that you thought that your father was a CIA operative. Yes?
Yeah, he was.
How do you know? What proof?
See, I shouldn't get into this right now.
Okay.
This is where we're going to get into trouble.
But this is something that you feel and that you're...
Said this way you finna get him in trouble. So look, you can find all this out in the CIA files, right? Okay, JFK got assassinated. Guess why JFK got assassinated? Hold up. Can anybody take a guess? Hold on, I'm gonna let him finish.
You're trying to work on?
I know.
You are never gonna... When you were 7 years old, your...
Hold on, watch this. Come on now. Don't do this to me, goddamn laptop. Man, I swear, my friend, I gotta take you to the shop and tell them folk, man, can y'all go in my settings, please? Cause I done tweaked some and that John ain't been right ever since. That John used to be running A1 good until I get these updates. And when I get these updates, my setting change. And I got to, like, damn, why is, you know what I'm saying? I be saving them, but, you know, them updates be messing this John up. All right. Now, when this free, I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on before, and when the screen not free. Now look, the JFK got assassinated. Everybody should know the real reason why he got assassinated. He already was talking about the secret society. Now keep this in mind. Kennedy family is one of those family actually got the royal bloodline, and they are one of the families that actually control the world. Now, but you got other families too that's beefing with them, and they want that Kennedy family out the way, but they so rich and powerful. You see what I'm saying? Just look at JFK kids. You know what I'm saying? They grew up to be politicians, right? Look, they grew up to be politicians, following up behind their daddy's shoes, so they ain't never gonna go nowhere, right? Like Robert Kennedy, you know, they killed his daddy, and you know what I'm saying? Now look, I feel like that he know the truth of how his family, you know what I'm saying, how the real reason why his daddy died, you know what I'm talking about? He gonna know the real reason, so ain't gonna be no conspiracy to him. But it's wrong for them to keep that conspiracy rolling and won't tell the world what really was going on and tell the truth. Cause look why JFK had to die, bro. Everything was going on now about giants and fallen angels, Gilgamesh, John F. Kennedy, and the man on the moon and UFOs. This the most famous speech. President challenged NASA to go to the moon. Why he challenging that? President Kennedy on landing a man on the moon before the year 60. All right, man on the moon. All right, we finna talk about the UFO, everything, and the secret society. We go to moon speech right here.
Get your money out of the market now, before artificial intelligence destroys it. That's the message I'm issuing.
Nobody should.
We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and...
Let me get to that, John. I don't want that. Suppose free Mason. I know where to go to when I see it. Oh man, why they? Hold on, prison. What a speech here about the secret society. John F.K. speech about the secret society. Here you go. Right here.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence and the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
The report is that the president is dead. The word we have is that he is dead, that he was shot by an assassin at the intersection of Elm and Houston Streets.
Cause look, if you tell the world, this will be the biggest exposure in the world, right? Guess why they won't show you who the aliens is? Why would they won't show you images of them or release the documents? Like what like Donald Trump just recently just said. Donald Trump, the UFO. This was just recently, 1 day ago. Trump said to release the files. I bet you he ain't finna show you no image, nothing to depict, none of this. Look, I'm finna show y'all how this finna go. It's just finna go be a bunch of gibberish writing all on the paperwork like, oh yeah, it's gonna be craft that was man couldn't never possibly made these. Flip the next page. Yeah, the saucer look like this. They might give you drawings or a saucer or something. A little stick means. You know what I'm saying? But look, this what got JFK killed. And when he said, when Donald Trump said, Trump, you said the files is coming.
You don't know what an AI work management platform is? Yikes. Here's 3 new AI-powered.
Well, thank you very much. We have some people that have captivated the attention of the whole world, not just our country, the whole world, and they're very brave, and there was a lot of rocket under them. I never saw anything like that. We were talking about it. It's I don't know how they do it. I wouldn't want to do it, but it takes people like this to make our country great. And again, I've never seen anything.
Doing that because of the Epstein files, and you be like, yeah, let's get everybody focused on the war, the oil, the prices going up in the gas, the food products going up. So let me put everybody on this UFO to keep my name out of this Epstein file, right? And he said the files is coming soon. Trust me, those files that you see ain't gonna show you what you really want to see. Photos, videos, real equipment, you know what I'm talking about? Actually video footage. Hold on. Since you talking about you finna release the file, watch what Obama said about the file. Donald Trump and Barack Obama UFO. Watch what he said when Barack Obama said about the file.
Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
But he just said the UFO files is coming soon. What? And Obama could get in trouble for this. If you show everybody what a UFO look like, what Nephilim look like. What Nephilim look like. What's the name? Yeah. The Arctic Angel. Damn it, man. Hold on. Damn it. What is that, John Ed? In Nordic. The Nordic Angels. Nordic. This shit. The Nordic Angels. That's it. Now look, these angels are aliens. They said this what the angels look like. Right? The Nephilim. What if you find out that, man, you had blue-eyed angels arriving to the earth as fallen angels? And you be like, yeah, give me a picture. Let me see what they look like. And then you go look and you'll be like, whoa, here you go right here.
They are tall, intelligent, and almost perfectly human.
Right here.
I finally realized why all the big companies use Navan to manage their business travel. With Navan, company travel
they look like us and them my space brothers.
Hello and welcome to On the Record. Those of you who joined us last.
When it all boils down, listen to how this man finna describe the angel. Is he gonna describe white people? Is he gonna describe white people? That's the only thing I'm finna say.
Last week were probably amazed as I was by some of the latest research in the field of UFOs.
Well, not all white people, because you know what I'm talking about, because it's more to that. You see what I'm saying? Check this out.
There is so much to talk about, however, we were unable to fit it all into one program, so my guest again this week is UFO researcher, former state Senate candidate, and award-winning pilot John Lear. Mr. Lear, nice to have you here again.
Always a pleasure to be here, George.
To begin with, we have this concept of the people from other planets as little green men. Are they green from what you know? Are they all the same, or we got different kinds of them?
George, there's at least 70 different species, and probably more. But yes, as odd as it sounds, there are little green men. That's not the ones we usually see, though. We see the little gray ones. They're about 4.5 feet tall. And we see the ones that are called the Nordics. They're about 7 feet tall, look like us, but they're invariably blonde hair and blue-eyed. They're one of the species that we have on ice. One of their crashes we recovered.
Obviously, with different species.
Hi, y'all. Now, watch how he finna switch that up like, what? Blonde hair, blue eyes. You would think you want to ask more questions about that, right? But watch how he finna switch it up.
Species, they have different motives. I mean, are there good aliens and bad aliens?
Different species that we have on ice. We see the ones that are called the Nordics. They're about 7 feet tall, look like us, but they're invariably blonde hair and blue-eyed. They're one of the species that we have on ice. One of their crashes we recovered.
Obviously, with different species, they have different motives. I mean, are there good aliens and bad aliens?
Good
from what
aliens
you know?
and bad aliens, and all kinds of ways and reasons for interacting with us.
And what are some of the reasons? Why would they be here?
Genetic experiments, trying to. There's a misconception here. People think that our space brothers would bring us, good things and.
What you mean, your space brothers? Yeah, buddy. Watch what the Indians said about the star people. The Indians and the star people. Check this out.
Too quiet? Turn your sound from 100% to 600% with Volume Max. Just hit Add to.
The star people among the Zuni is that we are descendants from the star people, and in the past, they have helped us to be what we are today or in this modern world. And we have very good relationships with what they call the God system, which is related through the star people. And we have been practicing these systems for thousands of years, and it even has survived to this day on a lot of rituals, ceremony, prayers out here in the Southwest among the Hopi, Zuni, and others, and even the cultures that disappeared, like the Chaco culture, the Mesa Verde culture in Canyon de Chelly in Arizona. They used a reference of the Orion constellation to lay out their systems. And it's also related to other star systems. For example, the ceremonies, we refer to the constellations as.
So won't it make sense why the white man had to get rid of those Indians, them indigenous people? Cause look what they knew about the star people, UFOs, and all of this. And he said, he even admitted, said, yeah, we are the descendants too, right? Check this out. If you look at him, if you really look at him, he don't look no different than a Chinese man. You see what I'm saying? So what these people been teaching us in churches, bruh, in school, man, it's all a part of the plan. Cause man, them folk got us just thinking that we believe in Jesus and that's all we gotta do to be saved. Man, if you go back and pick up the rest of those books, you're gonna find out, be like, well, man, it's more than that. Cause look, they got to get rid of these people off this land, knock down all their stuff, destroy all their stuff. They poison their food. Then look, they poison these people food, bruh. Gave them disease blankets. You know what I'm saying? They stole their kids. They did everything. Y'all remember the Tours of Trail? What they did to these people? Then they made these people, guess what they made them march to? Look. Man, they made these people march damn near all the way to Alaska. Check this out. And from the United States, bruh. From right here. Now, these people gonna be in Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, Arizona and stuff, right? This is where they land. This is where they're gonna be scattered out at. Keep this in mind. All these lands, it's more plain lands than anything. You got, just imagine, man, these folk, you got the wooded area over here. Then you got cities and towns and stuff over here. Everybody was civilized. Even the Indians were civilized. They just choose to still live like they in the wood. They made these people march all the way up through here, bro. Where they gonna go? To over here. You see what I'm saying? And then and you can look at him and be like, man, I could tell he got a little Mexican in him. Because you got to realize the Mexican people was over here, bro. Look what Mexican and the Afro, the black people, the Indians. You see what I'm saying? We were all getting along. We were trained, doing good. We was healthy. We were training horses. You know what I'm saying? You might well say, shit, they was like another Garden of Eden over here in the United States. You see what I'm saying? So, if he was telling you about the star people, that and then Donald Trump show you, you know what I'm saying? Donald Trump show you like, yeah, we got the files and we're gonna tell y'all, yep, the UFO, they were white people. What? White people? So if you show me a white, blonde hair and blue eye angel, everything gonna click for me. I'm be like, okay, no wonder why Santa Claus white. No wonder Santa Claus white. Right? And look at his image. Everybody know what Santa Claus look like, right? Right here. Everybody should know what Santa Claus look like. Okay. You got Santa Claus white. White Jesus. You gotta paint Jesus white. Because if you see Jesus coming down, and just imagine you see Jesus coming down as a white man, you know what I'm talking about, and like, yeah, let's go, Father, you know, they would mess you up on it. You see what I'm saying? So look how they painted Jesus, right? They got Jesus depicted all tight. Boom. Just like if you see him, right? Just imagine they know a fallen angel could look just like him. and like, yeah, let me paint him, and boom. So when the people see him, you know, they're gonna go crazy because he's gonna look just like him, and this fall they could be Lucifer, right? Look what Jesus wore. What did Jesus wear? Now you see how Jesus will be. You see what he will be wearing. Check this out. Hold on, I need a full description. Clothes. Look, you can even see it right here. If you look at this and go to this, right here. And it's the same thing Jesus would have on. Boom. Same goddamn clothes on. Same clothes on, bro. This is what Jesus would look like walking in traffic. With his hair like this. His skin was like fine brass, burnt in the furnace. I see it now. I see it now. I see it now. So look. If you look at these people, and these people located right here, right? Check this out. Man, I'm trying to get everybody close to God right now. These people over here by Ethiopia. Ethiopia was well talked about in the Bible. But keep this in mind, where Moses had to go to, talking about let his people go. Here go, look. These people is close in the region. These people right here. Now let's go to Fiji's Afro people. Look at the Fiji Afro. Boom.
You're one sentence away from launching your website with Base 44. Since the beginning of the internet, there's never been such a fun...
Look.
I believe in natural beauty. I just want to keep and maintain my own culture.
Check this out. This the only way that I can say this why some racist white people say your hair is ugly. No, it's just gonna show you where you came from, bro. It's gonna actually show you who you really is. That's why they want you to keep your hair permed. They try to do it for the dudes too. They had us putting perms in our hair, you know what I'm saying? Have us with S curls, Jerry curls, you know what I'm saying? You know, all of this stuff. Cause then you would be like, damn, look, boom. Cause check this out. Every female that I know, bruh, when she take her tracks out of her head and fluff her hair out, this is how short her hair would be. And that's why I believe some female put more hair in their head because they feel like they can't grow their hair long. I hear that all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, you know, girl, my hair just won't grow. What if your hair was designed to grow? Look, your hair was designed to grow like this. You can style it in so many ways. You can braid it. You know what I'm talking about? Without no other hair. Look how natural what you can do. You can even put it in dreadlocks if you wanted some dreadlocks in it. You know what I'm talking about? Shit, I know some females, goddamn. It's one girl on here wear her hair like that. Fine as hell. She be doing some crazy ass video, be had me tripping and shit. What's that lady name that be doing that crazy video? I forgot that lady name. She real slim as hell. She got a big ass following. She be doing crazy ass dances on. Got her name. So look. Boom. All I can, when I see these people, all I can just do is just think about all those family photos back in the 70s, in the 60s, even the grandmom. I still remember, look, this how you know when your hair white and woolly, you know what I'm talking about? And then make it so bad. And guess who come to mind when it come to this afro? Florida goddamn Evans. Florida Evans, bruh. All right. Here go they island. So that's the island where they be at. Look at that man, like paradise. Now look what he look like. Man, you can go in the, he look like Mr. Willis. Hey, Mr. Willis, what going on? Yeah, you say you need your brakes changed. Yeah, give me some brakes. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, just give me a 6-pack and a pack of Marlboro, goddammit. Yeah, give me a pack of Cool 100, goddamn. Too long. Then look at her. They like somebody auntie. Know what I'm talking about? So they on the island, right? Okay. Hanging out, you know what I'm talking about? All right. Florida Evans. Look at Florida Evans. That's crazy to me, bruh. Hold on. Pamela Grill. Woo! No wonder why she was bad, bruh. And she was known for that afro, too. Look at this shit, bruh. That's why they had to put on the wig and all of this. So you got this kind of, you got the Fiji people that got woolly hair. You got the Sunnis people, woolly hair. You got it's another giant. Damn, what's the name of them people? I forgot. Hold on. What's the name of that people tribe? Cause look, Nigeria is right here. All right, Nigeria should be right up in here somewhere. Right up in here. Yeah, right up in here. I mean, now this is what Nigeria is, right? If you go to Nigeria, now you can look at Pamela Grill and like, okay, if Pamela Grill look just like who? She gonna look something similar like Carly B. She gonna look something like Rihanna with a little bit of J-Lo. You see what I'm saying? And a little bitty Tasha 69. You see what I'm saying? With all of this being said, right? Now go to Nigeria, look what the Nigerian people. Had the camels there. Because camels big when it comes to the Bible and all this. You see how they look. Check this out. Now you see how they dress? They dress just like Iranians, right? They dress just like Iranians, right? All right. I need to go to that girl. Cause I'm subscribed. I'm subscribed to some of these Nigerian people. I hope they pop up in my. Yeah, this a dude right here. Now they go to Nigerian people. Look at how they look like. No different. No different. No different. So what I found out, right, in the book of Genesis, God told man and female, multiply the whole world. And that's what exactly they did. They went over the world and multiplied. And then somehow you get an Adam and Eve story. Somebody in with history. Now look. They eat good food over there. That shit look kind of good though. That chicken look right if it's chicken. See this? If she was over there in America, if she was over here in America and you just slightly walk by her, you wouldn't even think she Nigerian. You would think that, you know what I'm saying? Look quick. Look quick, you can be all shy, boo, what's up? Until you hear her voice. Me don't know what you talking about. All right. So what would Jesus would look like? You know what I'm saying? We all should know now. So basically, what I'm basically saying, bruh, man, when it came to Kanika Jenkins, bruh, she let me know these people still do ritual. Cause they were doing all these rituals in these churches over here. The same thing they were doing. They were killing kids at the altar. It's like going to church in those days and you committed sin and the pastor asked for your kids. Bring your son up here and we're going to have to shed his blood and send him up to the Lord so he can forgive your sins. Would you do it? You see what I'm saying? These folk were performing miracles. This is what I figured out about the Bible. I believe they added 1,000 years to the Bible to make up the lost time when they were trying to get that Bible right. Cause did y'all know the whole world went dark when Jesus was crucified, and they said the world broke up into two. So when he said the world broke up into two, so I said, well, let me look at it then. So I looked at it like this. I said, it do look like Africa was once upon a time connected to Australia, to Brazil. Because if you look at the shape, it's shaped similar, the same. And then when I looked at it, I was like, wait a minute. If you take Africa from right here, all the way around, to come up to here, to all the way around, just trace it. All right, all the way around. All of this going to be African then. Israel going to be Africa. That means all of this was Africa. All of this. Man was the one that came and divided the countries. You know what I'm saying? Renamed cities. Changed the name. So all this would be Africa. When they say when the world divided up in two, you know what I'm talking about? Look how these ridges will match up perfectly with this. To me it do, you know what I'm talking about? Cause if you go on to this side, that means United States. All this would be Africa. Cause look, if you go to all this shit would be connected then. So this is what I think what the world look like from up top. Watch this, y'all. Just look at it like this flat land right here, right? See how we got that flat land? Let me zoom out. Just imagine we going up. Now you see this blue right here? I believe this finna be, that's the sky, right? That's the sky. I'm gonna lift out. Now if that's the sky, I believe that's the firmament around. So when NASA try to, you know what I'm saying, talking about, yeah, let's shoot up and go up there, I don't think they can get past the firmament. Because if you zoom out, look what the world would look like. We sitting on a bowl of water, bro. It's like we sitting on a bowl of water. Just put it like a dome. That's the way I'm looking at how the way the earth is made. So I don't think the earth is flat. You know what I'm saying? The earth can't be flat because we sitting on top of water. But what the land would be sitting on, because I know the land just ain't floating in the water. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's going to sink like a rock is going to sink in the water. Stones, rock, stuff like that going to sink in the water. So something is holding the land up. Because if you look at it from this point of perspective, look, we could be very much staying like in the arch. That's why we got shadows and all that, cause they said the earth is curved. You know what I'm saying? When you jump on an airplane, I don't know what it looked like in the airplane. I never fly before, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been in the sky. But some people, I done seen video that when people used to climb in the mountain, you can't actually see, if you go climb high enough, you can't actually see the curvature of the earth. You know what I'm talking about? So just imagine you like boom. And we all just spinning around in one circle. But keep this in mind. Because look, if you go to Antarctica, right? Antarctica. You got a penguin in every continent. It's a penguin in every continent, meaning that Antarctica got to be surrounded by the whole world, and it got to be the ice wall. And we can't pass the ice wall or none of that. See what I'm saying? So, whenever talking about this how fallen angels, Just say, man, look how fallen angels just say like, what the moon? That's why they don't never have the moon on her. They say a fallen angel just come and just shoot. Boom. This is what he would look like if he fall on top of us. He come, he landed her. They say he landed her. It all makes sense. So we basically sitting on top of this shit. Cause I was looking at it, cause I was like, when you look at man on the moon, right? If you look at the man on the moon, how come when NASA land, they say they land on top of the moon? And you just see nothing but mountains, and you can actually see the curvature of the moon. Like, but when you go to Earth, you don't see that like that. But yeah, gang, I'm going to get on up out there, John. I just want to show y'all that, hey, look, Kanika showed me this, bro, that, man, look, black people was already here in the United States many, many thousands of years before anybody came and invaded their land. Man, Kanika taught me that Satan is so real. What they did to her was an ancient ritual they do all the time. And these rituals was happening on these grounds. Drinking blood, sacrifice. You know what I'm talking about? This is all Freemasonic doing. This ain't got nothing to do with regular people. These people killed Kanika, bruh, for her organs, her soul, and her blood, bruh. Cause in the beginning, there was a big talk about adrenochrome. 54 was the first person that was talking about adrenochrome. I knew a little bit something about adrenochrome in the movie, but I ain't know it had nothing to do with blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was some kind of power juice. You know, you know what I'm saying? I just know you got adrenaline that pump in your blood, and you know what I'm saying? I know it's some type of power juice, like a platinum in your blood, and you know what I'm saying? Shit. And then when I looked at the people that was involved, these people got a whole system set up. So bad that, man, y'all, it's like this one little area right here, Chicago. Man, Chicago running the whole United States. It's Chicago, Pennsylvania, New York. And look, in California, if you look at the way they got California set up, right, they'll tell y'all about the invasion over here with the Indians, dealing with the Florida Indians, with the Seminole Indians, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot. They all gonna be on this side, and they gonna tell you Christopher Columbus said from this side. Now you got the Bermuda Triangle right here, right? They said this a no-fly zone in the Bermuda Triangle, but if you go to the Bermuda Triangle, who stay here? Look, they don't want nobody flying over here. They say every time a boat come here, it sinks, right? Everybody know what the Bermuda Triangle known for. So I said, man, let me go down there to the Bermuda Triangle. What's so special about this Bermuda Triangle? For one thing, this gonna be in the flight path close to where the Titanic sunk in it, right? It's close where the Titanic sunk in it. If you go to the Bermuda Triangle, I'm gonna see where they let me go down here in these streets. Right here. Nah, I'm gonna just go to the street. Man, you can look at it like, man, whoever stay here, man, these people got money, bro. Man, you finna be like, man, these folk got money. What they want to hide out here? Right? Look at the houses. You know what I'm talking about? Look. Who would stay here? Because if you stay on the island like this here, you know what I'm talking about? Big boy houses, you know what I'm talking about? And I know you ain't making your money on the island, you know what I'm saying? Because the island's so small, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be a foreigner with money in their land, right? And hold up. Let me go to somewhere I already been. This ain't like right here. You can go right here. Look. They don't even want you to fly over here. They don't even want you to even be in no boat or that mug gonna crash. So I said, man, what's so special about why they don't want nobody to fly on the Bermuda Triangle? So maybe you could have a lot of slave activity that be going on here. Maybe you could find a lot of missing people over here. Working for these people, you know what I'm talking about, employees for their hotel, and you know, cause wherever's a golf course at, and they got a golf course on this joint, and I know what the golf course mean. You know they love to play golf too now. All right. Check this out. You know it got to be with kids. Got to have the kids. All right. So that's the Bermuda Triangle. And I'm like, man, the Titanic somewhere right up in here. And I was like, but nobody ain't gonna believe me when I say this, right? And I was like, man, you know what? Queen Elizabeth and them been over here. Prince Edward them, because you know Prince Edward got their own island too over here that nobody don't know nothing about. See that? Prince Edward Island. And then when I went on that island, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. If you go to Prince Edward Island, right? Check this out. You finna see what's really going on. Look. Man, you'll really see what's really going on. You'll be like, man, hold on. It's gonna make you wanna take a trip out there just to see it for yourself. Cause you're gonna be like, man, the Jeffrey Epstein Island is not the only one. Look at all these, look. It's basically more than land than anything. And just look at how the way they live on this island. All right, let's go here. See that? Prince Edward. Prince Edward. His island. Yeah, his island. So these people got land all over the fucking world, bro. So if them folks show you a UFO and said, man, look, who came out the UFO? Oh, some blonde hair and blue-eyed people. What? No wonder why y'all in power. No wonder why y'all playing God on this earth. No wonder why y'all bullies. No wonder why y'all, you know what I'm saying, doing all of this and keeping everybody else beneath you. You see what I'm saying? It all fucking makes sense. But yeah, gang, I'm finna get on up out of here, man. Trey gang, love y'all, man. Y'all be cool and y'all be safe. I'm gonna be going live later on tonight, and this is just gonna be a smoking and joking station. You know what I'm talking about? A little smoking and joking station till I get my stuff right? Cause you know what I'm saying? Cause when it comes to the Kanika Jigga K, bro, it's so much to took in. Cause even King Rob was talking about Donald Trump and the Prince of Israel. I need to go to Prince of Israel. The Prince of Israel. All right. Hold on. I just need to Google him. Yeah, I'm gonna do that later. But King Robert talking about the Prince of Israel, and he had a son, and he's Donald Trump's best friend. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, and the way he was describing what they was doing, he was like, yeah, man, you know, those Jewish people, he said, that's all they want to do. You know, they ain't nothing but a bunch of freaks, you know what I'm saying? They into that freaky and all of that old fetish stuff. And he was like, they'll pay, he was like, they pay top dollars to do weird shit. Know what I'm saying? And I want to say this here so bad. Hold on, what's that name? What's that girl name? Bernice Burgess. Now y'all know this lady right here? Her. I believe something really happened to that lady, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all why something happened to that lady. Cause of this stuff. If you've been following this lady been going live, right? Like she going live right now, right there. But it's old videos. Look. And then that ain't even her. That's another girl. I feel like something happened to that girl, and the girl that be going and got control over her phone, she upload number old videos. And then when she go live, right? Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all this stuff. Where that girl at? She always go live. Where she at? Cause look, I want to catch that girl in the act. Now y'all see this? All these pre-recorded videos. I believe something happened to that girl, and they don't want the world to find out what happened to that girl, bro. I don't know if I could be wrong on this. The reason why I'm saying this, I seen a dramatic change in her Facebook. I mean, on her page. I'm like, it's like something happened to that girl, and it's like they trying to keep her alive by pulling up old videos, making it look like she live, making it look like she's still alive. And I really believe that girl could have got caught. Cause look, I've been following this girl for a while. They deleted a whole lot of videos. Right? Look, they deleted a whole lot of videos of that girl. So, if I went to the latest, right, where that live with that girl, then she go right there. That's the girl. Hold on. Wait till she show her face. Where her friend at? Now you see how the live just flipped? This supposed to be a live video now. That's all she do, go on trips. You know what I'm saying? On those farm trips. Cause I was like, man, whoever paying her, cause she let it be known, you know what I'm saying? She got sugar daddies and the dudes that she be messing with, man, them folk got palaces. I'm talking about big mansion. It's this girl right here. Her. I believe that's her right there. I believe she know what's going on, bro. Cause this lady was going, every time she go live, she always be on it. Like right here. For a prime example. Let me see. Where her friend at? Damn. Man, the goddamn video. Cause she go live every day. She must be going live and deleting them, John. Let me see one with a thumbnail on that, John. Here she go right here. Now look. What this look like? You going live on her phone. It's like she got more possession of her phone than she do. Listen to what she was saying.
Yo, I don't know. And let me not put this cheese on here because, girl, stop. It's a spirit here.
That shit really looks suspicious to me. You mean to tell me you would delete all that girl live videos and then all of a sudden the videos just stop? Man, bro, this what made me gonna look into that K, bro. In case something do happen to her, you know what I'm saying? If something ever happened to her, just let you know I was on top of this shit. Like, man, I think something really. Look. That's what I believe.